Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Sunday is going well. Well, it's Sunday here in Atlanta, and it's cold as hell in Atlanta, or as we say in Cali, it's hella cold. It was 90 degrees. So I took a group to Benin, had a great time in Benin for the Voodoo Festival. Then from Benin, I caught a bus to Nigeria, and it was like 90 degrees. It was nice and hot, how I like it. Come to Atlanta, it's freezing. It's cold. It would and as I'm back in Atlanta, I'm like, all of you, we ain't African, we indigenous to America, folks. So y'all are indigenous to this cold weather. Y'all are indigenous to North Dakota, where it's probably negative 10 degrees, or right now here in Atlanta, where it's like 20, 25 degrees. Y'all, this is what y'all want to claim. This is what you guys want to claim. We are indigenous to the snow and to the frigid weather of Buffalo, New York. Y'all tripping. Yeah, I'm wearing glasses. I wear contacts, but I got prescription frames, prescription glasses. So I'm starting to wear my glasses more. Give my eyes some rest from those contacts. But yeah, black folks be like, we are indigenous to the snow of Buffalo, New York. We are the original people of Buffalo, New York. Shout out to Gohar Gambia, or we are the original people of North Dakota, where it's negative 5 degrees. And like I said, right now here in Atlanta, it's about 25 degrees, man. I can't stand it. But it's gonna warm up end of the week. End of the week, middle of the week, it's gonna get back warm. So I'm looking forward to that because I got this big house and it's hard to keep this house warm. I mean, during the winter, it's hard to keep this house warm. So we kind of freezing in the house right now. It's kind of cold in here, but we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. But anyways, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. So this video is gonna be a response video to my brother from Sacktown, from Sacramento. Folks from Sacramento are doing it big in Africa. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, even though he's from Northern Sac. I'm from the South Side. He's from the North Side. This is a response video to his video. African American women are fleeing Tanzania for this reason. And we spoke about this before. All right, sisters, especially if you are a single mother, you should not go to Africa as a single mother or even a single woman with no kids, with no male protection. They're going to run all over you. Again, you should not go to Africa without any male protection. I said this a few years back. Things are going to be hard. I mean, relocating to a whole different country, just a whole city. I mean, when I left California and relocated to Georgia, it was like it took me about a year to acclimate. But I had the protection of the University of Georgia. All right, so I was an athlete. So I was protected by the University of Georgia because I had access to all the resources for free. But when I left Georgia to go back to California, specifically LA, man, it took me it was for about the first 6 months to a year. It was tough trying to acclimate. Now, imagine relocating to a whole different country. And on top of that, a whole different country with children, with small children, with no male protection. They're going to eat you alive. Okay, I'm gonna get it's in the oven. Be careful. It's not warm yet. Let it finish warming up. Okay. All right. That's Massa. It's gonna be tough. And you're coming over there with your kids with no man. Nah. Don't not it's not just about you, it's about those kids. And they have to adjust. Excuse me. To living on a whole different continent. And you might be offended when I say this. You're going to be looked at as a certain type of way. You being a foreigner coming as a single mother, they're going to look at you a certain way, type of way. And you're not going to get that respect, especially if you're single. But if you have a man, specifically a local man that's there with you, there's a certain level of respect that you'll get because they'll have to deal with the man versus dealing with you as a woman, especially in a patriarchal society. Because Africa operates and runs on patriarchy. All that, I'm a strong sister, black woman, strong. Yeah, that's not going to necessarily fly over there or work over there. Now, you can do that all you want to in America. You can get away with that all you want to in America. But over there, I'm a strong black woman, single mother. That, yeah, it's not going to fly. Yeah, it's not going to fly. But let's take a look at this video. And I'll give my commentary and I'll put the link in the chat room. You guys can call in. Do me a favor. It's been a while because I've been traveling as far as me going live. Hit that like button. I'll put the link in the chat room here shortly. But let's jump into it. That's because the men in Africa don't see women as people. That's not true. That's not true. This is why right here. They get praised in America for being strong, independent here, but in Africa, it's definitely no bueno. Yeah, you can't. That shit ain't gonna fly in Africa. Like I said, in America, you can be the strongest, singlest, black single mother all day, all night here in America, and you'll get a pat on the back. You'll get praised for it. There's resources for you. But in Africa, shit don't fly like that.
If you're coming here as an individual, trust me, you're going to be treated like an individual and nobody will care if you leave. 2020 was a rough year for the entire world because why? COVID-19 was in effect. Many people lost their jobs. Many folks lost their lives. Many folks lost their marriages, and the whole supply chain across the world was being disrupted. But there was some hope, and it was hope for people to make a change in their life since everything was going to hell. So what did some people decide that they should do? Well, they figured this is the right time to move to another country in the world, the country of your dreams. And for people who had the Pan-African spirit, that's what they wanted to do. So folks said, let's fly all the way to Ghana. Let's stop the show. Didn't happen. Ghana was closed. Some of us was like, well, let's go to Uganda. Uganda was closed. Let's go to Gambia. Gambia was closed. There was a president in Africa that wasn't going for it, and he was letting anybody who wanted to come through. President Magufuli of Tanzania. So a lot of people...
Billy, I need help with the clicker.
Yeah, one second, Grandma. This guy's gonna buy my car.
went to Tanzania searching for a new life during that time. But then I started to notice something. Those people started leaving the country. And there are three ladies in particular who have the similar story about why they left.
Ruby, that's not true at all. That is not true at all. Patriarchal societies do not believe women are human beings. They use women as a tool. That's just not true. That's another show.
All three of these women are African Americans, and all three of these women appear to be single moms. Some have moved to another country in Africa, and one has moved away back to the States. And the first lady that I want to talk about is called Journey with Me. She made a video clip which is now going viral on the Black Americans Are Forced to Leave Africa's video by Indigire. And here's how the clip.
You're not forced to do anything. You are not forced to do anything. You weren't kicked out of Tanzania. You left. Rule number one, when relocating to another country, all right, research that country, the rules, the laws. All right, if you plan on moving to Tanzania, connect with a Tanzanian community here in the United States of America. The Tanzanian community that you connect with here in the United States of America, that will serve as your extended family. And that's for any country, whether it be Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal. You need to connect with the community here in America first, with their diaspora community here in America first. Then once you connect with them, they will serve as your protection when you move or relocate or visit their country, because they're going to have things in place for you once you get there, meaning their family members are going to be there to receive you and get you acclimated and help you adjust to the the new country you're moving to. But when you listen to the women, their commentary on why they don't like Tanzania, it's like y'all didn't research shit before y'all left. So that's not Tanzania's fault. Let's continue.
It starts.
The number one reason why I left Tanzania is because I was getting scammed numerous times. Was I scammed? I left Tanzania and I've been back in the US for almost 2 months. And for me, it was the best decision that I could have ever made for my future and for my son's future. I was on Facebook and I saw that someone posted a picture of them holding up 500 T-shillings. It seemed like they were trying to say that's how much you would have to pay. You would only have to pay 500 T-shillings to fill up your car.
So she found a Facebook post of someone holding up 500 T-shillings. In fact, you know what? I might have a shilling right here. Hold on. Because I had some money left over from when we went to in fact, here we go. Here's a T-shilling right here. So this is 10,000 T-shillings. This is from when I went to when I took my group to Zanzibar. This is from when I took my group to Zanzibar. This is 10,000 T-shillings. So it could have been a situation where she thought that, so she said it might have been 50,000, but she thought it was 5,000. Like, it's so many. She probably misunderstood what the post was saying. I mean, I don't know. The post is not in front of me, the original post that she put up. But here's 10,000 T-shillings right here. Let her continue, because I want to get what she's saying. I guess she was under the impression that 5,000 T-shillings could fill up a gas tank. I guess that's where she was going with it. So she felt scammed. Yeah, so she felt scammed because she thought 5,000 T shillings could fill up a gas tank, which is equivalent to 20 cents, but that's just not the case. So she thought that she got scammed because she read, yeah, she saw something on the internet and took it as being true, went over there, and now she's calling people, accusing people of scamming her. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Which is, I think they said less than 50 cents. The situation for me this time was a visa issue. And I'll go into that in another video. I just feel like it's so much to tell and I need to give the details of that. However, that situation was rectified for me, but at the last minute after I decided that I was leaving to go home.
Simple research will tell you how the visa process or getting residency in Tanzania, how it works. It's not easy. But and people keep bringing this visa, of course you get a tourist visa when you arrive, but if you plan on staying, there's another visa you have to get, which is pretty much residency. And it's very inconvenient to get in Tanzania. But I don't understand. Do people not research how that process works before they go? And then they get there and then they get upset. And they do videos like this. Like the residency process is laid out online, how it works in Tanzania. And so you have to take that into consideration before you move there. It's inconvenient as hell. But people still go and then get upset. These aren't goggles, these are glasses, prescription glasses.
But then we find out more about her. Why did she really leave Tanzania?
I was introduced to this guy, a lawyer. And this guy was someone that the people that introduced me to, who I became very close with, still close with to this day. I love them dearly. Shout out to y'all if y'all watching this, which they probably are not because they're not really into the YouTube thing. But this guy was, right away he presented himself professional. He went to get the information. He did advise that he didn't know too much about the visa process.
There seems like there's more to it. Seems like there's more to it, but you know what? I don't have I don't have the facts on it or any proof to say that this might have been a romantic relationship. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna back up. But it seems like there's more to it.
Or anything, but he would get the information. And the individuals that introduced me to him, they felt that okay, if he's a lawyer, he's capable of finding out the information and such, right? So this guy charged me up front. I'm going to give you guys the totals that I remember. I had to pay like $12.50, I believe, for myself and my son's visa, and his fee was $250. So right.
Again, I don't know the facts. I'm not even gonna assume that it's romantic, but it kind of sounds like it might have been romantic. But again, I don't have the facts on it, so I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Right away, that was what, 1,500, right? So then once you get your control numbers, you pay for that, and then that's the situation. So my process took about 4 months for a 2-year student visa for myself, and then my son would be added to my student visa.
A student visa. Yeah, this seemed, yeah. A student visa. But are you a student? Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
So I was told. So I was told. So I was told.
Let's just sum it up. She had a visa issue. She got scammed. So she decided that her son and her should move forward, and they left. She's even made a response video to it, and now she's flourishing, doing well back in the United States. But then there's a second lady called Lala's Journey, and she also has a child. She's left Tanzania, now living in Ghana, but she's going to give a few reasons why she had to leave.
The first thing that I didn't like is the immigration process. When I went to Tanzania, I already imprinted it in my brain that you're allowed to, from the research that I've done, that you're allowed to have 3 months there and then get extensions, which is a 30-day extension. It's supposed to be two 30-day extensions for free. But once I got to the immigration, they had us wait there for 5 hours after telling us they could give us that time period. And we only got 2 weeks. After waiting 5 hours, we got a 2 week extension. So I had to maneuver myself from there. And it was just not pretty for me. I left the immigration office like literally in tears because I was just like, it's just this, I pick up on vibrations and energy, and it just like, the immigration people just felt like they don't want me here.
See, I need to get the immigration side of the story because I've seen, yeah, I got to get both sides of the story. Because you can find out how the immigration process works as far as visas and residency online. See, that's why it's important to have an extended a family that you connect with here in America before you go to any foreign country to kind of help you out with this stuff. To help you sort out these types of issues. See, here we go. Here comes Dinus with the misonistic BS. Ain't nothing misonistic about it. We're just dealing with reality and dealing with facts. It's a lack of preparation and research before you go, and no mail protection. You know, you bring up a great point. Do you guys understand how the process is for Tanzanians to get visas to come to America? Whether are Nigerians or Ghanaians or Senegalese or Ugandans or Kenyans. 5 hours ain't nothing if you look at the bigger picture. When they try to come to America, you understand how that process works? It's not easy. Bam, here we and I've been saying this for the past 4 or 5 years. Pan-Africanism without a checkbook is Pan-Africanism in vain. Guys, it has to be a win-win for both parties. And we're going to get into that. It has to be a win-win for both parties. I hate to say this. A lot of people are going to get offended when I say this. Some people are going to be upset. The days of just bum rushing Africa and saying we are descendants of the slave trade and slavery, and we were taken away against our own free will, and therefore we are Africans returning home, back to our homes. Guys, if you lead with that without like, hey, but also these are the skills I have. This is how this is going to be a win-win. This is the businesses I'm developing. This is what I'm investing in. I'm offering this. I'm offering that. Things will go much smoother. But going the emotional route, guys, those days are over. I'm sorry. Those days are over. Our ancestors were taken away hundreds of years ago by force. We didn't have any choice, guys. Those days are over. It's all about how is this a win-win? What of value are you bringing to Tanzania? That's how you have to lead moving forward. That's for anybody. Does America not? Yes, they do. They're in DC and New York. I called the Tanzania embassy because our visa on arrival. So they offer visa on arrival where you actually could pay for the visa online when going to Tanzania. For my guests when we were going to Zanzibar. And so it was taking them a long time to process the visas. So what I did, I called the Tanzania embassy, got somebody on the phone, which is sometimes could be which is somewhat surprising sometimes when you deal with these embassies, because sometimes people don't answer the phone. Dude answered the phone. I forgot his name. He was very helpful, expedited the visas for my people, and we were on our way. Made one phone call. This could have been resolved with a phone call to an embassy in DC. So we can't blame Tanzania. By no means should Tanzania be held accountable for people not researching before they left America to go to Tanzania. Okay.
You know, for whatever reason, whatever judgment they had of me, I don't think they want us as expats there. You know, and that's just the honest truth, you guys. Like, they were laughing at me while I was crying, like,
are you interested in starting your own faceless YouTube automation channel, but all people do is tell you to go to freaking Fiverr and Upwork and hire people to make rain sound videos?
It was just so funny. Maybe it was just the immigration officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, okay.
Now, the second reason is going to be interesting. She felt that she could not be herself. Let's check it out.
Number two is the culture. I just couldn't vibe with the culture. I felt judged 50% of the time, you know, and I just couldn't be myself. And that's just the bottom line. Like, whatever they believe in and whatever they thought of me is not even the problem. The problem is I could just never be.
Whatever they believe in, I can tell you what they believe in. Tanzania is an Islamic country. Tanzania is an Islamic country. That's what they believe in, meaning that Tanzania is conservative. So when you're saying that you cannot be yourself, we're going to get to that. She wanted to wear leggings with a butt out. We're going to get to that. In fact, let's go ahead and get to that.
Myself, I work out a lot. I wear a lot of compression outfits. So I work out a lot. I wear a lot of compression outfits. Me, it's not even the problem. The problem is I could just never be myself. I work out a lot. I wear a lot of compression outfits.
There we go. She was upset that she can't wear her tight stuff, her booty shorts in an Islamic country. There it goes. And so I'm going to tell you, again, I wasn't there. So I'm assuming that she went to the visa office with some booty shorts on and was upset that she got the reaction that she got. So she went to the visa office. And guys, I want to be very careful because I'm not attacking these sisters. But come on. Hold on. Let me, here we go right here. Here we go.
Called Lala.
Here we go. Can you guys see this? So she might have pulled up to the visa office in booty shorts. That is a no-no. And again, I'm assuming, I could be wrong. I'll go ahead and apologize ahead of time if I'm wrong. But she said that she was getting certain looks because she works out and likes to wear compression stuff. So tight booty shorts and leggings in an Islamic country. And she says she don't know what they believe. Tanzania is an Islamic country. It's conservative. If you guys can see this, hold on. Yeah, that's what happened. And I'm assuming. But she was in the visa office with tight leggings and booty shorts and was upset why she was getting treated the way she was with no male protection, and it just went south for her. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on these sisters, but we keep hearing the same story over and over and over again. And I'm like, come on now. I don't believe that they're not doing the proper research. I don't believe that they don't hear the other experiences that people have when going to these countries. And say, you know what, maybe I should not do that. All right, let's continue.
Lost journey. And she also has a child. She's left Tanzania now.
Immigration people, just officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, okay.
Now, the second reason is going to be interesting. She felt that she could not be herself. Let's check it out.
Number two is the culture. I just couldn't vibe with the culture. I felt judged 50% of the time, and I just couldn't be myself. And that's just the bottom line. Like, whatever they believe in and whatever they thought of me is not even the problem. The problem is I could just never be myself. I work out a lot. I wear a lot of compression outfits. I wear, things that to a very, very modest person, you just, even at my most modest, you just like gonna, give me these looks.
Yes, Tanzania is an Islamic country, so yes, they're modest. Now, at night, I'm pretty sure that they have areas in Dar es Salaam where at night, if you want to rock your booty shorts, you can rock your booty shorts all night. Certain nightclubs, certain areas. But during the day, you have to be conservative.
If you're a judgmental type of person. So I felt judged half of the time, and I didn't like that.
So this is very interesting. And I think that for a lot of ladies who are looking to come, especially to Tanzania, Uganda is a little different. Kenya is more open. But if you're coming to Tanzania, and I've heard this, women who dress contemporary is going to look bad in certain aspects. So there's societal norms that are there. People are supposed to act a certain way. That's even here in Uganda. And if you come out there trying to act the way that you want to act, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to go down that well. Right. And that's for men and women. There are certain ways and certain things that people are supposed to, behave. Even for somebody like me, I'm very straightforward, right? I'm very brutally, honestly straightforward, especially in business. And even though I'm right about my straightforwardness, it's looked at as being very rude. I'm supposed to be more humble about things, even if it's fake humble. Fake humbleness in a lot of the business sector in East Africa is really appreciated. In some aspects, even more appreciated than actually doing what you're saying you're going to do. So what's happened is I had to give up a lot of the decision making with collaborating with business opportunities because I'm just so brutally honest, which
And that's the problem. It's this entitlement. The whole country of Tanzania needs to conform to me. If I'm gonna wear my booty shorts, damn it, I should be able to wear my booty shorts in peace. They need to conform to me. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. That's the problem. It's this sense of entitlement that the country of Tanzania needs to revolve around me. That's the problem.
comes off to being offensive, I had to pretty much give that part up of the business up because I was offending people for telling the truth. But that's pretty much how it is. You're not going to be able to be yourself here completely. And that is something that you're going to have to understand. If you want to really be yourself fully, you're going to have to go to another country or you're going to have to stay in the States. There is going to be some level of you giving up who you are to operate in this society. Just like an African would have to give up who they are a little bit to be in Dubai or be in the States. They're going to have to transform to their environment, and you're going to have to do that here. But this last person left Tanzania for similar reasons and that, but here is something that they're also complaining about too.
The visa process, getting the multi-entry visa, is useless if you don't go all the way back home.
People have been complaining about this Tanzanian visa process for the past 8-9 years, ever since I've been going to Tanzania in 2011. See, I'm going to tell you what the problem is. Instead of doing research, people just go off of what's popular. So Tanzania is popular in East Africa. Ghana is popular in West Africa. And instead of doing what I encourage people to do, that's, listen, you go to East Africa, hit up about 3 countries, 3 or 4 countries. Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda. You go to West Africa, hit up about 3 or 4 countries. Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal. I'm not a fan of Gambia, but Gambia might be for you. Gambia. And then make your decision from there. But people will just go to one country, set up, don't do the research. Then when things don't work out, it's that country's fault instead of pointing a finger at themselves. Nah, Tanzania, listen, Tanzania is an Islamic country. Hell, the name of the largest city in Tanzania is Dar es Salaam. For God's sake.
And who has money to keep traveling all the way back home to the United States every 90 days? That's ridiculous. Even if it's every 4 months, because you can get an extension. Absolutely not. The second thing is, okay, let's just say you don't mind doing that, or you just want to go to Kenya and stay there longer than a couple of days. You got to stay there for like a week or 2 for them to think that you're exploring, and you come back. Okay, so let's just say you're okay with doing that. Then you'll have to get a business and then apply for residency.
What's wrong with that? Start a business and apply for residency. Yeah, that's how it should be. Why should they just give you residency without you at least contributing to the country? Yes, that's my point. That's why I'm saying it has to be a win-win. It has to be a win-win. Where these sisters are moving, okay, Elvis, where these women are moving to is Dar es Salaam, and a lot of them are in Zanzibar, predominantly Islamic. Yeah, start a business. It has to be a win-win. Because they're looking at you. Why do you want to come to Tanzania for? I'm just chilling. What? Huh? Chilling. Yeah, they're going to make it tough for you. But if you can add value to the country, things become easier for you. Hey, listen, I want a residency. I've started this business. This is what I'm doing. I'm helping out this community. I'm part of this community. Bam, I guarantee you it'll be a whole lot easier. Trust me.
Because you cannot apply for residency without a business.
So start a business, sweetheart.
That's the crazy thing.
Now that YouTuber,
That's not crazy. That's the majority of countries. In order to get residency, you're going to have to pay. Or show how you're an asset to the country in order to get residency. That's how it is in America. In order to get residency in America, if you're a foreigner, you either have to be what's the word? Asylum seeker, student visa, or start a business. Oh man. Or it's like, why you want to say you live in America, first world country. Why do you want to come to Tanzania? And I'm telling you, the whole we were slaves, that's not going to work in 2024. Go start a business.
is called Becoming Tila. Check her out. She's now living in Zambia with her 2 children. And she also didn't like the fact that, the land laws were different. It wasn't a whole lot of opportunities for her there. At certain points, I believe that, she came to Africa looking for maybe even a romantic interest, and that didn't happen. But here's what I'm seeing along the lines for these 3 ladies. First of all, they come to the continent unmarried. I'm not trying to say that this is a bad thing at all, right? I do understand that, women are doing many great things being independent, but it can be more difficult when you don't have a man there. And what I've noticed,
Like I said, male protection. Shout out to my sister Adenike Adeyanju. She was uninformed, poorly informed. She should have depended less on others and did her own research. And why are you showing up anywhere dressed like this to conduct business? Again, it's an allegation. I'm just assuming that she went to the visa office in some leggings or booty shorts and was upset that she was treated the way she was. When you go to these ministry offices, these are business meetings. All right, you need to be dressed appropriately. So again, I'm assuming, I don't know the facts on that, but from her from what she was saying in regards to she likes to wear tight stuff because she works out, I have a feeling that she showed up to that visa office in booty shorts. From her complaints.
this is that women who come to Africa, most importantly East Africa, tend to be taken advantage of more, and in certain cases, not always, looked down upon in certain cases, or people want.
Do not pay somebody to build you a Shopify store, because I'm going to do it free with 20 handpicked products by myself and my expert team and professionally written ad copy for all of those products at no charge. And if you don't believe me, I dare you to click on
Want to become more predatory towards them because they feel like they don't have any protection and anybody can just walk over you. So what happens is when they know that the man is not there, things can be more difficult, right? right? So if I'm a man, I'm a husband, and I said I'm supposed to do something for you, I might be fearful that your husband is going to come and attack me or confront me. But if I don't feel like, that's going to happen for you, then if I were to scam you, what are you really going to do about it in my country, right? And I have noticed that a lot of women that come from America and they come here and they don't have a man in their community, they have a much harder life in East Africa. I don't know about West Africa, but I know they have a tougher life. And also, it tends to be harder for them to do business and also date. So that is something that you really need to understand. If you're a woman moving here and you don't have, a man in your life from your community, I know people here that are married and they come here, they typically do a lot better in Africa than somebody who does not, right? But also, they're talking about some of the same things that I've been talking about. One lady even said, listen, they even laughed at her while she was in the immigration office. They thought it was funny. They didn't care.
For whatever reason, whatever judgment they had of me, I don't think they want us as expats there. And that's just the honest truth.
That's not true. They want you there if you're contributing, if you're bringing something of value to the country. Yeah, they want you there. That's not true. This is the problem. They don't want us there. That's your experience. Again, that's your experience. But if you're bringing something of value or contributing to the country, hell yeah, they want you there.
Guys, like, they were laughing at me while I was crying. Like, it was just not funny. Maybe it was just the immigration officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, okay.
Here's something else that we got to talk about. A lot of us as African Americans, because we're individuals, we're not looked at as a group that's doing very well here. So when you're not looked at as a group, then people tend to not to take you so serious. That's one thing that happens. So basically you are here, but you don't represent a power move to us. So if we were to do something to you, or if we are to take advantage of you, then there is nothing that you can really do about it. So you can't punish us. And this is one thing that the diaspora and people need to try to understand. And this is no way to offend anybody here. We need to have a certain level of power in Africa to protect ourselves. That's everybody. That's Caribbean people, like British, African Americans, Ugandan Americans, people like that, right? In order for you to get a level of transparency, you need to have the ability to enforce upon those who don't do the right thing. And that means you have to come in and be investors that can make a change so that you can sway people based on your good efforts and your work. Otherwise, you're going to have a tough time in a lot of African countries because you don't have the resources and you don't have the pull. So when people don't have that, they tend to leave, go to another country that they feel is better. But most people are not going to care that you are here. They're not going to open up their network to you. You're going to have to fight for everything that you get. And I don't think that people don't understand that you're going to lose a lot of money. I've lost over $7,000 in a transaction before here. I've never talked about it, but that person felt like that I could not punish them, right? That's what they thought. They felt like I could not punish that individual. But had I been a Chinese person or had I been somebody else that had infrastructure, that would have been different. So you need to come here and seek a level of power, a level of influence as a community. It's the only way that you can get anything done. If you're coming here as an individual, trust me, you're going to be treated like an individual and nobody will care if you leave. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shady Jackson. Back at it again. Another episode of Fair Use. I'm out.
All right, everybody. Link is in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in and add to the conversation, please click on the link and add to the conversation. Again, if you want to call in and add to the conversation, link is in the chat room. You are more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. Click on that link, everyone. Click on the link. Click on the link. Yo, go ahead, Elvis. Unmute yourself, Elvis.
You getting me, Donis?
Hear you now. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I was just trying to call to make that point that you kind of went against. It is a Christian country, predominantly Christian, and
Dar,
like
Dar,
somebody,
Dar es Salaam is predominantly Islamic. So let me back up. Dar es Salaam, where the majority of these sisters are moving to, Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar are predominantly Islamic.
right? Yeah. So that part of it is. But just a little quick history lesson. Not that you need it from me, but the word Swahili, is an Arabic word that means language of the coast. It was a trading language during the Arab slave trade. So you see a lot of Muslim and Islamic influence in Eastern Africa because of the Arab slave trade. You see somebody like Freddie Mercury, right, who was born in Zanzibar
Right.
from, I think, Iranian parents or Persian, ancestry. A lot of people from the Middle East move into Eastern Africa, especially Tanzania. So yeah, but they're predominantly a Christian country as a whole. They have a Muslim president right now. So I was just trying to correct O'Shea when he was making that statement that it's not, factually accurate that it is a Muslim country. It's not. But I think just to touch on the topic, I don't like to get myself into these conversations often, but I think one of the things that she didn't mention, and for you, Diners, you know about this. You go into Nigeria and Togo and Benin, and you practice your religion, and it's more accepted there. But in places like Tanzania, if you're a quote unquote spiritualist and one who wants to get in touch with the ancestors, for those people, especially those people in Dar es Salaam who are Islamic, it's haram. It's not something that they accept. If you're doing your sage burnies and you want to do some meditation outside, they're gonna look at you funny.
Well, it,
And
it,
then
it depends where you're at. Like it depends which part. I mean, a lot of the Muslims they practice it.
they, if they're practicing it, is against their faith. They are not supposed to practice any other religion mixed with Islam. The real Muslim will tell you that. But again, it's not the point. It's besides the point. But again, the biggest thing is how she dresses, right? She talks about wearing compressed, clothing. We know what that is. That's the sports bra, the leggings, the tight, short booty, compressed shorts or whatever you want to call it. And in most parts of Africa, that is, kind of looked down upon. In more urban areas, it might be acceptable, but then again, certain men and certain women will look at you as maybe you're being more promiscuous by dressing in that way. So it's like that for even for African women from the continent. When you dress like that, people look at you a certain way, and they get a certain perception of you. So it's not just that they don't like her, like she said in the video, and I think you push back on it. The Africans don't like them, but they don't accept them being expat. That's not true. Of course not. But the way you carry yourself, people are going to judge you with their eyes first, and maybe if they get to know you, then they'll judge you with their hearts and minds. But overall, I just want to make those 2 points, and then I'll listen to the other guys.
Let me pass it to Karen. Go ahead, Karen. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Dinus, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to say this. What Elvis was just saying was perfectly right. I live in Tanzania. I'm African American. My husband is Tanzanian. I run a tour company. I have guests here all the time that come from the States, and I have to constantly tell our women how to present themselves and how to dress. And the first thing they ask me is, well, can I wear something short if I can't wear something low cut and I can't wear something tight, right? Or can I wear something tight if it can't be low cut and short? And it's this constant, just not understanding that here, people very much will treat you based on what they see. So we had guests here recently, and one of our tour operators had to tell me, to tell them to be very careful, because when they went to Zanzibar, they might be mistaken for prostitutes, right? So
Right.
I think a lot of our women come here and don't realize that people are serious about this, that how it is that you represent yourself, people treat you accordingly. And also East Africa is very different from West Africa. Women are not respected in the same way. And the way that you earn respect is from the way that you carry yourselves. And our women in the West don't really understand that because the culture is very different. The
I
other
think
thing is you have a lot of people who
Karen,
are coming. I'm sorry. Mhm.
Karen, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off. They
Yeah, no
understand.
worries.
I just think it's like this entitlement that they want.
Yeah.
They want Tanzania to conform to them in regard to how they dress. Because number one, and also two, you have to also bring up, they're paying for a trip to come to a country, so they might think that gives them the right to do what they want because they're paying their money.
I think you're absolutely right. Like there is this sense of, well, I'm paying to be there and I'm a tourist and I'm on vacation, so I'm going to do what I want to do.
That's what it is too.
Yep. And then, the two guests, they ended up going to Zanzibar, and they had somebody got into a fist fight over one of them because they were half dressed on the beach, and they ended up not really enjoying themselves because they not understanding that friendliness that they feel, they start to realize after a while, it's not really friendliness. These men are making an assumption about them.
Right.
And I think because it's so different from what we're used to in the West, that women come here and it's, how do I put this? That's such a large part of like African American women's identity, unfortunately, that it's really hard for them to understand that, you can cover up and still have a good time. I hate to say that, but literally there's this way in which there's a disconnect that they don't understand, that they can still enjoy themselves and not be overexposed every minute of the day. So I'll stop.
I'm writing that down. You can cover up and still have a good time.
Yeah. I had another group that was here this past summer, and they couldn't wait to get to Zanzibar to be on the beach, to have these little, bathing suits on. And we were on a boat, and one of the boat captain was looking at them with pure disgust, and it went completely over their heads. Right. But as a tour operator, it puts me in a position because I'm embarrassed. Right. I'm bringing these women here. But they just don't get it because everything is so hypersexualized in the West. And I'll say this, that, our men have gotten to a point where they're being critical of it, but this was encouraged for the last 30 years in our culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get attention unless, you had less clothes on than the next girl. So this has really become part of the identity of our women in a way that they think this is something that's their idea, which it wasn't. I remember, I'm in my early 50s, right? So I remember growing up in the 90s in the 80s and 90s where we covered up. Right. That was part of who we were. And then it was this constant erosion that I won't blame the men for, but the men introduced it because it was pushed from other communities. Right. This was not sort of how we were as a people. But now there's just, it's completely just, like I said, just not really understanding that you're still attractive. People are still going to be interested in you. You're still going to have a good time. You just don't have to show everything. Right? Leave some mystery, and people will respect you.
When we were in we didn't have any issues in Tanzania when we were there, because I think when you're dealing with more of the touristy beaches, it's kind of I don't want to say anything goes, but it's way more liberal. I just
absolutely.
When we're in like Stone Town, you want to be a little more conservative. We're in Stone Town, but when we get to the beaches like Kenwa and Nungwi and what was the other beach? I think we went to is it Paje Beach that we went to?
Paje.
Yeah, you could do your thing there, but but when you're in Dar es Salaam, that's a whole different
right. Yeah. But they're not getting it. And then like being here as an expat, we have a whole community here in Arusha where I live, and then also in Dar es Salaam. And the women that come here who are not married really have a hard time. They don't.
And
stay
Arusha
long.
and like Dar es Salaam, Arusha, very conservative.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't stay long. They end up, doing what these women have done, leaving. But because no one tells them, they're not ingrained in the culture, they're very lonely, they end up leaving because they don't get it, and it goes over their heads. And they're not picking up on the social cues. They're not looking around them and seeing that, the women aren't dressing this way.
No, I disagree. They're I'm sorry to cut you off. They're picking up on it. It's just they choose not. They expect Arusha and Dar es Salaam to conform to them. They're picking up on it.
You're right. When I say picking up on it, what I mean is you're right. They're refusing.
They're picking up
right.
on it. It's just like
they
I'm
are.
doing what I want.
Yeah.
They're picking up.
Yeah, they're right. I'm not going to do it because it's not cute, and I want to express myself. And like the one sister said in the video, I want to be myself. Right. I want to express myself and I want to be myself. But they're not picking up on the fact that that's why you're having a hard time. Right? And if you really are serious about staying here, you know, just get with the program if you really, really want to be here. But you're right. You're right about that. They're annoyed by choice.
They're picking up on it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Free game. Okay. Go ahead, free game.
I'll drop off.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for your input. Free game. Go ahead. Free game. Unmute yourself.
What's up, man? How you doing?
No, good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. Now I'm gonna say this. I got a couple points. In the 1900s, early 1900s, Black Americans got a movie about them by racist whites. You know, basically portraying them as minstrels. And Black people, they said, "I don't want to be portrayed as that and this, and that." And then in the 1920s, they had the feminism move. Through the 1920s to 1960s, they had the feminist movement. But Black women, they didn't want the same thing as white women. They want to be considered uh, um, basically something outside of being a 304. So Black women fought for that. And now you go to Tanzania and we in America, they want to be the same things that they fought against. They want to act and dress like 304s, but want to be treated like queens. Another thing, Black women don't have a sense of etiquette. You have to actually have etiquette going into these other countries. It's like they don't care, like you just said, they know they don't care, Dinus. They don't care. They don't care about cultural norms. It's entitlement. Another thing, why would you go to a country when you're going to go broke if you're not making money? It's a Black guy on YouTube. He created a whole Southern American restaurant in Tanzania, and he's making money. Why you can't go to Tanzania and make money? You're going to go broke if you don't have a business online anyway. Another thing about Black women, they want to go over there and they have the same expectations for the men financially that they do in America. So you're going over there with taking a child, you 2-3 kids, you're a single mom, and you want the same standard of living as you get in America without a business. How is that even possible? So you're demanding these men to provide for you at a standard in a currency that they don't even have. That's my problem. Like, Tanzania needs to build a wall for Keisha. Keisha needs to be kept out of Tanzania. Another thing, wearing the booty shorts and all that, you're trying to have an impression on the other women. Black American women and white women in America too, they are a billboard for feminism and propaganda. Nobody else, everybody knows that in Africa. Everybody knows, like the girls who went to Ghana and twerked at the slave thing. Same stuff. You keep seeing concurrent behavior with Keisha.
Can I step in for a second, bro?
No. Well, let me pass it to free game. Are you finished? Or go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go.
Let me pass it back. Let me hold on. High value, Tyrone. Let me pass it to Karen because she's calling from Tanzania. I'm gonna pass it to Amar. And I'm gonna pass it to you, high value, Tyrone. Go ahead, Karen. Let me yourself. Karen, you there? You got to mute yourself. All right, go ahead, Amar. Unmute yourself, Amar.
All right. Okay. So the brother.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Karen. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Should I mute myself?
No, you're good, Karen. Amar, you have feedback, Amar. I don't know what's going on with your phone, your device, but you have a lot of feedback. Go ahead, Karen. Karen, go ahead.
Oh. All right. So,
Karen, we can't hear you.
okay. Yes, again, the brother was telling the truth about this. I think people are going over there. Can you all hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're going in and out. Go ahead.
I think it might be me. Hold on. I'm trying to turn off my, I'll let somebody else go. Let me get my sound together.
Okay. No problem. High value Tyrone. Go ahead, high value Tyrone.
First things first, man. Salute to your platform, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing what you're doing in Africa. I'm seeing how you're trying to show our people a different side of, a different way of living. You get what I'm saying? Now, I'll say one thing because, you know what I'm saying, my business is not driven by black people dollars, but I'm going to tell you like this. For everybody that was, I know this is going to be a little off topic, but I'm going to say it anyway. It always shocks me when we talk about what black people do with their business, how we shouldn't have to make a profit because the other person is black. Black people don't go to no restaurant. They don't go to no mall. They don't go to no car dealership and want a discount. They don't even ask for a discount. Black people go to these places and brag about how much they spend. I have seen black people take pictures of receipts showing how they don't spend amount of money at a white person establishment.
With Salt Bay.
I have seen black people intentionally ride by 6 or 7 black locations to go by a white person, go in their bathroom and take pictures. Go by the dead plants in the corner and take pictures. But when it comes to a black person conducting business, all of a sudden their practice is highway robbery. But you can go in a Gucci store and get a t-shirt with a fucking G on it and pay $500, and that's swag. That's staying up to the current events of the trend of clothing. But that ain't highway robbery, going in a Gucci store or going to get some Burberry where they don't even want you in there, where they'll follow you around the store. They don't offer you champagne. They don't offer you drinks. They don't offer you desserts. They don't even want you in there. But you come to the register smiling, showing all your 633 dinosaur teeth up in there, so you can buy their goods and services. But when it comes to a black man trying to show you something, oh, he ain't talking to you enough. He ain't smiling at you enough. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the bus, the air conditioner on the bus ain't cold enough. You know what I'm saying? The water bottles with the kids on the corner ain't cold enough. You get what I'm saying? We have all these complaints because at the end of the day, black people, we really don't like each other. We really do not care for each other. We are descendants of the original fuck niggas from Africa. And I'll say it right then and there. You get what I'm saying? When all of that shucking and jiving is 400-600 years ago with slave raiding, all of that, we're descendants of that. That's in our DNA, getting captured, hunting each other. That's why right now on the streets of America, you got young black brothers hunting each other under cover of the name of the ops. I got plenty of cousins. Hold on, let me finish, man. Let me finish, bro. I ain't interrupt. Now I'm one of y'all simps when y'all was talking. Now I'm one of y'all. But what I'm saying is that we sit up here and hunt each other the same way that when the slave raids was happening in Africa. You get what I'm saying? We're doing the same thing over here in America. I talked to my cousins straight up. I asked them. I said, man, when y'all say the ops, are y'all talking about any other people besides black people? When you're saying the ops, is white people the ops? Is Indians the ops? Is Israeli people the ops? Is Japanese people the ops? No, it's only black people. So therefore, we get to the point in our community as black men because we don't offer black women anything but death. We only offer black women nothing but death and dick. So when a black woman call you up crying about her baby daddy or a dude that she messing with, the only thing you can offer is, can I beat him up? That's all you offer. I'll kill him. That's all we offer as black men. So therefore, what do the black women do? They raise themselves up. They act like they want to act. They talk like they want to talk. They dress like they want to talk. But that's accepted in America because most black men in America are weak trick simps, super ultra mama boys. That all a black woman got to do is put on some leggings and you'll go kill another black brother for her. Just because she got some leggings and she makes some bullshit spaghetti. But that same mentality, when she take it to Africa and things don't go her way, when she put on some leggings and things don't go her way, when she put on some booty shorts and things don't go her way, when she got on that 20-inch Peruvian yaki, silk body, smooth, Malaysian, 38 inches, don't go her way, now she want to sit up there and cry. It ain't no simps in Africa running up to her saying who they can fight or saying who they can kill. So therefore, they get on the platform, get on these YouTube programs and sit up here want to tell a story as if like somebody is oppressing them, like somebody's attacking them. You get what I'm saying? You don't research the area that you going. You just got enough money, so you migrate. So you got these, like, think about it. These three women have kids. The only way you can do that is to get your baby daddy to sign for them to get a passport. Or either these are the type of women that don't even have a man signing the birth certificate. I'm breaking it down for y'all how it works. To get your kid, for a single mother to get her kids to Africa, either the father have to sign it, or either he have to be over $30,000 to $49,000 in the reals of child support. You get what I'm saying? Or either she convinced him that she'll take him off of child support so he can sign to get the passport. Because other than that, you can't get it done like that. So when you have this mentality of the black woman who can't do no wrong in the United States, that go to a patriarch society where the female is held to accountable, she don't know what to do. Like her brain doesn't react to the situation at play because what goes on in the United States. And you got these suckers, these busters from Augusta that's willing up to come up and shelter her instead of holding her accountable. She goes to another country and she feels like somebody trying to kill her, like somebody doing her wrong. The immigration paperwork is different in every country. All you got to do is a quick research. But some type of way, we think crying and yelling and saying something is going to get us to where we at. Now I'll pass the mic and let another person get on with the conversation.
African man perspective come in, please.
Go ahead, Amar. Go ahead.
You see, before I'm from West Africa, Sierra Leone, and before I found myself, my born Muslim. But in Sierra Leone, when you young boys coming up, you don't find yourself in your religion until to a later time. That's when you really stick with it. And we hang out in the clubs, we hang out at the beach, we hang out everywhere. And this is what the boys, like boys in the hood, this is what we talk. When a girl passes by, we give them a label. You see what I'm saying? If a girl passes by with some booty shorts or some tights trying to get attention, there's a word we call those girls Rari girls. Rari girls in Sierra Leone is a girl that, you know, is looking for attention that you can pay with a little bit of money and you can get whatever you want to get on the side. Now, when somebody dressed like that, when you approach them and they get mad because you ask them like, well, you want chill or whatever, I got a couple of drinks and we can chill later or whatever, they get mad. So that's why when you fully dressed, if you go to the beaches, the women that are fully dressed, the men are intimidated to approach them. When you're fully dressed, the man checks himself first. Be like, oh, this one of them girls I could just, take home, take to the club, and then we end up at home. No, she's not one of them. So they put you in a separate category. Now, when you dress like that or whatever, yeah, like the disrespect goes down the roof. Now, when African Americans, female, go over the African, first of all, in our culture, that's a red flag if you already got a kid. 1, 2, or whatever, your dating marketplace goes all the way down the road, down. Nobody wants, if you mess with a girl that got kid, everybody look at you, all the boys in the hood look at you like, you crazy? You got all these other women that ain't never had kids. You mess with somebody that got kids, they got no action. Period. You got kids, no action. The only person you take serious is somebody that never had kids because you want to start your own family. That's clear cut. So anybody walking around with kids, nobody don't even look at them. I don't care if you dress tight or what. Once the information goes around that, oh, yes, that girl that looks like that, dresses that nice and she look revealing or whatever, got 2 or 3 kids, everybody backs off. All the mans back off. That's an immediate red flag right there. Kids, no action. You get no attention. Nobody takes you serious to marry you or take you as a serious girlfriend to show to their people, because over there our culture is family gets married. Family when you got a girl, it's the family that approves. They do a background check on the girl. If you never had kids, if you have nobody has to say anything bad about you. Everybody can co-sign on you. It's a huge co-signing culture out there. So you go in there with kids, it's already a red flag. So
hey, Amar, I got to interject. Let me mute you. This is feedback coming from you. I have to disagree because I know sisters who could go to Africa. It don't matter the number of kids they have no problem getting a man. For the most part. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Let me unmute you because I had to mute you. Hold on. Go ahead.
I'm married. I know the process of getting married. They check you if you had kids in the past. You see what I'm trying to say? I've been married. I'm fully married, and my wife was verified. They go there and check her past. If she had kids in the past, if she had to be married before, she had different relationships. It's the family approval. That's African culture.
Amar,
the family got approval.
Amar, what I'm telling you, sisters could go to Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, even Sierra Leone with kids from other men, and they have no problem getting a man.
I'm not talking about getting a boyfriend. Somebody can have sex. I'm talking about marriage. Marriage, which is the ultimate marriage.
Yes. They will have no problem getting married.
Let me tell you why. If a woman already has kids, this is how we interpret it in Africa. If a woman already had kids for another man, she can't have your own kids because they look at it having kids is trial and error. Between having the kids, she could have had miscarriages. That would have happened a way for when I come in to have my own kids. You see,
Amar,
that's the
Can
reason
I can
why.
I push back as an
hold on,
African man?
let me interject real
That's
quick.
the reason why.
Hold on,
Because sometimes
hold on, Amar. I had to mute you because I'm gonna pass it to Karen and get her input on this. Again, Amar, that might be for local women, but when women from the diaspora come to Africa,
Yeah.
they can have 30 kids
Mhm.
by 30 different men. They will find a husband, no problem, within a week. I gotta mute you. I gotta mute you, Amar. It's feedback. It's feedback. Again, let me repeat myself, Amar.
Yeah.
A woman, and Karen,
Mhm.
I'll let her jump in. Give me a second. A woman from the diaspora could come to Africa. 30 kids, 30 different men. She will have a marriage proposal within 3 to 5 days. Fact.
Mhm.
Karen, am I wrong?
Nope, you're absolutely right. The rules are different. It's, we're seen as exotic. So there's two things that are happening. If you come here and a man does take you seriously, right? That he thinks that he can bring you home, he'll make an exception for you as an African American, and his family will too, right? So I've seen that happen. But Amir is right as far as women here locally in the culture. He's absolutely right about that. That they're not going to be taken seriously. But I think that there are some differences that are made for us because the culture is different. And then also, depending on where you are, we're seen as exotic. Or, to be completely honest about it also, there is probably a financial benefit to marrying you. So those exceptions might be made if people can see that there's a benefit to being married to you as an American. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we're here. You.
Yeah, we hear you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No worries.
Amar,
Yeah.
again,
So,
Amar, that's my point. Go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So, I think both of you were right, but the rules are different, for the women. Depending on, if you are where you're coming from, they will make exceptions for African American women. There's also some things that, we're not expected to adhere to some of the cultural norms as closely in general. But as far as the other thing that we were talking about originally, they're not going to take you home if, they have to be ashamed that you're exposed when you go to meet their family, right? That's something that's not going to happen.
Karen, when you married Karen, you're married to a local Tanzanian, correct?
I am, yes. Uh-huh.
Did you already have kids from a previous marriage or relationship?
No children. And that was the funny thing. So my husband and I have been together almost 7 years. We've been married going on 3. But I met his family like year 2. And he actually has children with a local woman, but he could never marry her because she had children from someone else before. So what Amara is saying is right. He could not bring her home and marry her.
I have to disagree respectfully. I don't think that's
Mhm.
not that is not. I'm from Liberia, and that's right next door to Sierra Leone. We have a pretty similar culture. It's not a taboo to marry a woman who has, who have had kids from a previous relationship. It's not. Many
Well, I
people
think,
marry. Go ahead.
yeah, I'll say this too. Just let me, if I follow up with this, I think that depends on where you are. My husband has told me directly, it is taboo here that your people's family frown upon that with a woman having children, right? Part of it is the confusion, and he and I have had in-depth conversations about this. When it comes to your kids, like let's say a man marries you and you have children, he has to make a determination about if the money is tight, whose kids get what. And your loyalties are seen as being divided because you've got all of these kids. And that's headaches. You've got another man that's maybe constantly involved in your life. And people don't want those headaches. So here where I live in Tanzania, it is taboo. It happens, but it's not something that happens frequently. I'll put it that way.
Okay. I guess maybe that's for East Africa, but in West Africa, you see a lot of blended families.
But Elvis is not the norm, Elvis, and it's not encouraged like it is here in America. Like I've never heard a man in Africa or a woman in Africa or a grandmother in Africa say a real man gonna take care of a kid that ain't his. I've never heard that shit in Africa. I only hear that shit in America.
Well, the point that I'm trying to make is that it is not taboo. It is not uncommon to see blended families in Africa, right?
And I disagree. I disagree with that. Now I would say this: if it's the man who's had kids,
There you go.
if it's the man who's had kids from maybe a previous marriage or
Yeah.
relationship, one thing. But if it's a woman who's have kids from a previous relationship getting remarried, I rarely see that in Africa. Not on a level that you see it here in America. That's a fact.
So
Yep.
you're saying that's, again, like I said, I see it a lot in my community, but maybe you haven't seen it a lot. But so women should be punished for having kids outside of wedlock and maybe not ever getting married, whereas we as men, we can have kids from previous relationship and still have the ability to marry whoever we want. And you think that's right?
It's not about if it's right or not. That's just culture and natural. That's just how it works.
Can I hop in?
Yeah, go ahead, Amar.
Yeah, the reason why it's not it's having kids. Okay, our culture, there's what is exposed, what's out there, and what is hidden. Okay, we have a good way of hiding things. Like a girl might have 2 or 3 miscarriages, or she have 2 or 3 abortions before somebody sees her, like, oh, I like this girl. You see what I'm saying? I like this girl. She's good, and she don't have this, she don't have that. You know, a man, our mind runs to what's there. But when it's time to have kids, she starts having complications. Like a woman might have 1 kid, and between that, she might have like 1 or 2 abortions. I'm sorry I say it out like this, but she might have 1 or 2 abortions, and by the time she finds out one guy that she's ready to settle with, she has problems having kids. That's the reason why. You see what I'm trying to say? Because as what if you know that a girl has only 1 kid, that's what everybody knows. What about the other things everybody doesn't know? What about the other things that the family hides away? You know, girls get together, they do the little girl thing, and you as a man, as a fool, you won't even pick up on nothing until you marry that person, and then you start having problems having babies. And then you sit with a girl, tell me the truth. What was going on in your life?
So I'm all right.
Then
I'm all right. Do you think a woman's true value is in the amount of kids that she have before she meets you? If a woman has no kids, do you think that means she's gonna be a better wife than a woman who may have had a child before she met you?
Culture is having kids. If you marry a woman in the first year of you marrying a woman, they don't hear a child's voice in the house, it starts to raise questions because there's a vetting process that goes into it. That's why families vet, they have to have family approval. When you have family approval, all the families go out there and find out anything about the guy's past, so they make a good decision. You see what I'm trying to say? That's why it is. If a girl say a girl had 1 kid, maybe when she was 15, and then you met her when she was like 24. Okay, it's proven that she had a kid in the past. Okay, you say, okay, 16, maybe that's an accident. Okay, she fell in love mistakenly. People at 16, their body changed and they had an accident, so you had a kid. So that's proof. But between 16, they're expecting you have to be shut down. The guy would have shut her life down. No intercourse, no abortions, no miscarriages in between, no nothing. So when she at 22 or 24, when she finally finds that man, she's getting ready to get married. Okay, they give you a second chance. It's a proof that the woman had a kid when she was 15. It's an accident. Okay. But at 22, between that time frame, you should be perfect. So when the man that you marry is ready, to have his own kids, there shouldn't be a problem with the woman's body. You see what I'm trying to say? But in Africa, there is a lot of hiding stuff. Like a girl might have 1 or 2 abortions or stuff like that, just so she wouldn't be selected. Those facts are hidden. That's why they go out, they set a search team, they do a background check, they ask around. Do you know anything about this girl? She about to get married. We don't want this man to have problems, because they want kids out of the relationship. They want grandkids, they want kids out of the relationship. So it's something there's people know, and something that's hidden. That's why people investigate. That's why families investigate. They don't leave it up to you. When you're in love, you don't even care. You marry somebody. But when the families, they're neutral. They go out there, they ask around and ask around and ask around to find out if somebody with loose lips is going to say something. You see what I'm trying to say? They're trying to help the man. Because when the man is in love, he doesn't see, he's blind. He doesn't see a lot of things. So down the road, that's what the families do. That's why African families, you have to have their approval. Their family, friends of family, people they know, they ask around and check on the girl, check the girl good. Same thing with the man. They check on the man. You see what I'm trying to say? So at the end of the day, if the man, there's no divorce in Africa. I mean, it's
What?
divorce. What I mean, there's no divorce in Africa. Listen. Like me and my wife. Why I say there's no divorce in Africa? In Sierra Leone, for example. Me and my wife, we married 3 times. Okay? We married a traditional marriage. I'm Christian. I'm Muslim, sorry. We married a Muslim marriage. And we married a court marriage. A court marriage in Sierra Leone, the certificate my wife has, I can't run away from it, because you know who determines if me and my wife want a divorce? The Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. They are the one that decide, not me and my wife. That's why the judge told us, like, if you're going through the legal system, you do not have any powers. If the judge says that there's going to be high marriage rates, and that's his judgment. That's his judgment. You have to put up with it. You are not getting out of that marriage.
So your marriage is compulsory?
Even listen, the judge told my wife. I was great when the judge gave my wife was giving us a certificate. I was trying to hold on to it. You know, the judge told my wife, no, give it to your wife. That's an ammunition. The ammunition that you cannot get out of this marriage, because you're not the one that determines if we gonna get a divorce. Plenty of time, the case goes to the high court, the judge strikes it down. It's not me and my wife's decision. It's the high court judge. You see what I'm trying to say? That's why I mean.
Okay, please give me 30 seconds. Let me say something.
Well, hold on. Let me. I want to pass it to. I gotta meet you, Amara. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna another woman out here. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come in and say something. I think everybody's having a little bit of difficulty trying to understand what Amara is saying, and I thought, let me just come. And of course, I'm Ghanaian, Togolese, I'm West African, and our cultures are very similar. What he's saying is a cultural tenement that it doesn't preclude or state categorically that a man cannot marry a woman.
Rokoy, you're fighting your phone, like you keep rubbing your mic, or you know. I don't know.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
That's better. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, it doesn't really preclude a man marrying a woman who's already had kids. Nobody, at the end of the day, there's still personal choice, but the society frowns on that, and they frown on a man who hasn't had kids themselves, bringing in a woman into the family who's already had kids. And this is simply because, one, African marriages are not brokered only between the man and the woman. It's brokered family to family. families are involved. So the families really have a vested interest in making sure that you're not stepping into a complicated situation. We all know, look at, I lived in America for 30 years. We all have heard of baby daddy, baby mama drama. This is real. And in our cultures, we understand those things. And so society sets you up to prevent those things from you, because when it happens, it complicates the society itself. So a man with a woman with children already has she has the add-on of maintaining another man's seed, and these seeds have to be accepted into another man's family, and this is complicated because there are rights to that child, there are rituals, there are standards and things. Let me share this story with you all, and this happened to somebody I know, and I want it to be heard by people who are non-African to explain to you how significant these things are. There is a family that I know where a child was born to a man and a woman, but the woman did not give the child to the right father. So she had a baby, but like we hear about, she's not the father drama. She did the same thing. She carried the seed of another man, but then she passed it to the guy that she was seeing. And the guy, obviously, there was no DNA at the time. So the guy came and did what they're supposed to do, which in our African context is to name the child. I don't know whether Amara in Sierra Leone we do all those things, but we in West Africa, a man gives the child the name, and they're going to come and they're going to do the rituals for the man's bloodline, and that's very significant. But of course, when this woman passed on this child to another man, the other man did his clan rituals for the child and named the child. Well, let me tell you this happened for real. This child was growing. She was troubled. She was a child that couldn't make it in school. She was always in trouble. It was just a mess. And so they had, they went the Western route. They went to the doctors. This child, I'm sure in this country, they'll say it's ADHD. She doesn't have this. She can't do that. Until a recommendation was made by the shaman of the family and the clan. Go see the local shaman. This child is troubled. And the shaman performed his rituals and told them, this child is carrying the name of another man. This child is not this man's clan and not bloodline. So the mother, this woman was in her 20s. The mother was made to confess. And she told the truth that I knew I was pregnant for someone and I gave it to her. So they had to, in her 20s, they had to find her real father, who knew that he had been sleeping with the child, and they had to rename her. They had to remove the traditional name system that had been placed on her head, and she was given the name of her real bloodline. Now, I'm sharing this story to say it sounds like hocus pocus in terms of Western understanding. But in Africa, our people know these things. They understand these things, that there is a child, is a human being, is spiritual, and is also flesh. So we don't allow these things to happen. It doesn't mean that a man can bring a child home, a woman can, have children, bring it. But then that means the family accepts you, knowing that these are all possibilities, and we are family supported, family maintained. So when they discourage, it isn't because they're just trying to control you. It's that the societies are regulated and they want to be able to have these situations as less stressful as possible. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you for allowing me to.
Can I ask you a question before Donis pass the
Sure,
mic?
Go ahead, Elder.
please go ahead.
Okay, so say you had a husband, right? And you
Mm-hmm,
had kids in your early 20s, and God
mm-hmm,
forbid, say your husband chooses to divorce you, and
mm-hmm.
you meet another man who has no kids, who is in love with you and wants to marry you. Do you think you shouldn't marry that man because you have kids and he doesn't, and it's a cultural taboo?
Sir, it has nothing to do with what I personally want to do. I may want to marry the man as much as he loves me and I love him. But our societies we are communal societies. Our place in our communities as Africans, we are because of everyone. So if I did something on my own, I will do it without the approval of my family. They're going to say, go, you're an adult, go do your thing. But know what you're stepping into. It is just the way it is. Is it subject to change? Of course, as we're becoming more westernized and modernized, some people are stepping out and doing their own thing. But at the core of our culture, these are the things that are in existence, right? So we come into it as Africans understanding it. And that is why when you're young, your parents try to prevent these things from happening to you. They say, don't do that, don't do this, don't go be with that man. They do. If you start being serious about somebody else, they start investigating the man. And the man's family starts investigating yours too. What are they hiding? What's in there? Because once you build that contract, once you do that social contract, it is not only hello shaking hands, but you're building clans, you're building bloodlines. So that's the African worldview. And it may not be something that as an African American you understand or you approve of, but that is because you're not culturally or socialized as an African. We Africans understand it from birth. And so we live and project within that. I hope I've answered
I'm
your question.
African, by the way. I'm Liberian, so my culture,
Okay,
I guess,
okay.
is different. It's maybe a little more Americanized than other cultures.
Yeah, you might have a more westernized perspective about it, but like I
Listen,
said, it's not that it's rigid.
Rokoya, don't listen to Elvis. Trust me, that shit don't fly in Liberia either. Don't listen to Elvis. That's
Okay.
the Negro here in America talking. That's not the Liberian talking. Don't listen to Elvis.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that just became a thing in America too. Like back in the day, you couldn't be a single mom in America. They gonna, hey, where that baby come from? Who that baby is? That asks you a
Yes.
thousand. America back then and America now is Black Americans back then and Black Americans now is like totally two different people. Back when my grandmother was a little child, you would get talked about, you fast, you this, you that. You couldn't be a teen. You couldn't have a baby as a teenager in Black America. They'll talk about you so bad, send you off to your grandparents, so you won't be able to embarrass the whole family. They used to live by those rules, but now
Mhm.
it's just a bunch of bull crap. But hey, Donnie, let me hear the woman in Tanzania. She was saying something about my comments about the etiquette, the
Right.
Keisha's being a cancer in Tanzania.
No, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to follow up also on the how it used to be. My mother had a really good friend. Her son got this girl pregnant. This is in the 90s. They made him marry her because they came from a nice family, two-parent household. Parents had been together over 20 years. And they said to that young man, who will want you? No decent woman will want you if you have a baby and you're not married. Right? And this is in the late 90s. And he's been married to this woman ever since. Right? So I'll just say that we actually did have these kind of cultural norms, but now all of it is out the window. So addressing the other thing about the women here, and I think you're right. The etiquette piece, I've had, women here in the expat community who told me they did not care. This is the thing that they wanted to do. I've heard people say that kind of thing. Or, even small things, right? So it's not just the women, but it's just, a lot of us in general. We talk about paying chai. So you get pulled over by the police and they'll ask you for money for soda or chai, which is tea, right? And the expectation is that you pay the little 2,000 tea shillings, which is less than 50 cents. But I've had people tell me that I am not doing it. I know it's part of the culture. It's going to make my life easier, but I refuse to do it, right? So it's that kind of thing where we do come, and Dinah, she said it earlier, people come here and they insist on doing what they want to do here because they're standing on their principles, right? And it kind of ties into something that Elvis said also, that I think, and just tying this all together, as the last lady said, it's not a matter of personal choice, right? So it's not a matter of whether it's right or wrong, or you think it's a good idea or not a good idea to do certain things. But I grew up in a military family. My dad was a military officer. He was in over 25 years. So I moved in different places. I think it's helped me adapt to this. It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's the culture that you're in. And, when in Rome, you do as Romans do, right? You do what the culture what the culture dictates. And I think a lot of us don't realize that. And getting back to the whole original point of this, there are a lot of women that are coming here and they're not investigating the culture. They don't know anything about it. One of the gentlemen said something about, coming here and not having a job. I know several women who've come, there's no man, no husband. They come dressing a certain way, and at the same time there's no job. They're just going to figure it out or get a job in Tanzania. People have gotten smarter since 2020 when we had sort of the mass influx of people, but still there are people here thinking that somehow it's just going to work out for them. They haven't had relationships with African people in America, but all of a sudden they come here and they think that they're going to be able to adjust.
And Karen,
And a lot of people are going home.
Sorry to interject, Karen. And that's the point I was making at the beginning. Like, before you go to an African country, you need to connect with that, with that diaspora in America first. That group.
Exactly. Yep. And that, that's something that really came in handy. Since I was in high school, my closest friends have either been from the Caribbean or from West Africa in particular. But, having that insight that there are different cultural norms and that it's worth you finding out what those might be before you pick up and move someplace. A lot of these women haven't done that. And it's personally kind of offensive to me to watch these videos for people to come in and say, well, I was getting scammed all the time. The other thing that we don't do is, and I think in the video, O'Shea said this. He says, people are coming here as individuals. The number of times, we have a business here. We've got several businesses here and we're doing well. Part of it is I know because I'm blessed to have a Tanzanian husband. But the other part of it too is I'm not trying to work in isolation. So when we need a vendor to come in and do certain things for us, we try to pull from the community, but it's really hard because nobody trusts anybody and nobody wants to work together, right? So a lot of times these women are coming here and they don't understand that in America, they are in a rare position, right? And in the Western world, they're in a rare position where men and women are not as interconnected, right? That you can sort of be this independent person that leads to a lot of loneliness and a lot of like mental illness, I think, in America. That's a whole nother story. But here, you actually need people to survive. You need to know the culture. You need to rely on one another, and you need to build a community. And people are reluctant to do that. And we're struggling here. And these women end up going home. I hear stories or I get calls from other people in the diaspora group about this woman is here with her kids and she's lonely and she's having a hard time here. But then she doesn't want to connect to anybody or come out to any of the meetings. So there's a lot of things that we're doing where I think that we have this way of thinking that I'm going to come and do what I want to do and somehow it's magically going to work out. But it doesn't work that way. So I'm going to stop talking now and hear.
How you feel about them wanting to be provided for the same standards as they are in America by the Tanzanian men?
It's ridiculous. And full disclosure for me, one of the reasons why, my husband and I picked my husband, right? And he picked me was my husband had something, right? He had his own home. He had his own farm. He had his own land. He had his own business. He did not make as much money. I completely had a bigger income, but my husband had more wealth. And I saw that he was someone who was willing to work hard. So I have a friend that's come over and she's dating someone that is a friend of my husband's. And she and I are talking about this, right? So she's a PhD. I know people like to make fun of that, right? But she's a Jamaican American. So she's got a little different perspective on this. But I have to tell her, you have to look for the fact that he's got drive, that he's building something and you can build something together. That you're not going to be in a situation where he's paying for everything and taking you everywhere and taking care of you in a way that you think that a man should at home, right? But at the same time, on the flip side of that, African men are expected to provide for their families. So when African American women come here, they have to understand that together, you might have to put yourself in a place where your husband is then able to provide for the family, or you do that together. But he's not going to have the same means, especially in East Africa and Tanzania, where it's a much poorer country than, let's say, a Nigeria or a Ghana.
Let me pick it back off that. Let me correct free game real quick.
High value Tyrone. Sorry for interrupting. I want to get Karen's perspective on this.
Go ahead. I'll go after that. Go ahead. Like yourself out, bro.
Black Americans abroad are responsible for connecting and protecting the Black Americans going to Africa. What are your thoughts on that comment, Karen?
I'm sorry, did I say that again? Can you say it again?
Black Americans abroad are responsible for connecting and protecting the Black Americans going to Africa. What are your thoughts on that?
All right, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on that. A lot of us aren't well, right? So, I am connected with people in our community, but they're the people that come over here. And I say this to people. I heard someone else say this on your show a long time ago, Dinus, and it's true. If you were someone who was not successful in the United States, you're not going to come here and magically be successful. It doesn't work. So the same characteristics and the same sort of work ethic that you have at home, you need to bring that here. If you don't have it at home, it's not magically gonna develop in you here, right? So you've got some people who are just coming here on a wish and a prayer. They want it to magically work out for them, but they haven't been ever successful in anything in their lives, right? And they're running away from their problems at home. So people like that are a drag on the community. I'm going to be straight up about it, right? But other people who are coming, they have hustle, they have drive, they've been successful at home. They're coming here to do something productive. In those communities, I don't know if it's necessarily their responsibility, but I think that it just makes good common sense for us to be in contact with one another to figure out how we can work together.
Okay, go ahead.
But this is the thing, man. I want to correct Free Game on something. His question was legit, but his question was actually wrong, because actually the black women that come from America, Free Game, you know what I'm saying? They don't put no pressure on the men here. See, they in America, they'll want the man to make 300 million, 700 billion, 2 trillion, and 23 cents. Have a six-pack, work out at the gym 24 hours a day, pay all the bills, braid their hair, take care of all their kids by several baby daddies, and go to church and be next in line to be a preacher. That's what they would preach in America. But when these husky hyenas, wig weave wearing wild hyena hood rat from Southeast DC go to Africa, they looking for beach boy, long stroke Tremaine out there sliding through, busting coconuts open, you know what I'm saying, pouring it in their mouth. That's what they don't go to Africa with the same expectation. But what they do carry from America is that entitlement. See, one thing that Miss Karen was saying, but she didn't dive too deep in it. But when they come over here, in America, you can sit in your house all day like a turtle with your head tucked in your shell. And then you can go to the courthouse, diners. You can go to the state house, Miss Karen, and beg and cry somebody to give you some food stamps, to put you in a program, you know what I'm saying, to help you find a job. You can go to the Department of Labor. You get what I'm saying? And do all these type of social program with your safety nets. So you can be an incel in America and then go cry to white people. See, that's the weirdest thing about these black men that are simps. When I said that black men don't offer anything but dick and death, you know who helped black women out? It's white people. That's who helped black women out. Only thing that black men do on the internet is sit up here and be a simp for them. That's why the brother was asking those weird ass questions about, is it right? Or how do you feel? You get what I'm saying? He sounds just like my second baby mama, talking about your feelings and what you think, but not saying about what it is. You get what I'm saying? See, we live in this society in America for where how you can feel and what you think can get somebody fired, Dinus. The way you feel and how you think can have somebody arrested, Dinus. That's the bullshit that's going on in America. And you have brothers like this, that's a Liberian, knowing that type of shit don't go on in Liberia. But he been indoctrinated in this simp, super, ultra, mega, ultra mama boy fantasy that goes on in America, where he can get a podcast. If he had enough swag, he can get a podcast and get on there and talk the way he talk, and he'll have 1 million, 2 million females with 12 kids by 23 baby daddies telling him that he right. Where he can't support now one of them. He can't take now one of them home. But in America, you can do that by patronizing. But in Africa, that doesn't work. So when you go to Africa and you're an incel and you don't know nobody, Then you got to fend for yourself. Why you think that girl was on the platform at the immigration office crying, Dinus? Crying because she thought somebody was gonna jump over the counter, pull out a pillow. So I'm like, hold on, bro. The funny thing about it, I ain't joking at all. That's what's the funny part about it, Dinus. She stood there crying with her braids irritating the back of her neck, crying, thinking that somebody finna jump across the counter with a pillow and a bottle of water. Ain't somebody finna drink a bottle of water.
It's a bottle of what? Bottle of what?
A bottle of water.
A bottle of what? Bottle of
water. You get what I'm saying? That's what she expects because that's what she would get in America. A broke man that looking at a fat ass and some leggings, and let me tell y'all something. And the reason why these chicks in America wear leggings so much is because they got that trick your body. You get what I'm saying? That means they wear these leggings and these tights with these Wakanda vibranium stitched in it to pull all that ass and all that girth together, and they got all that. Let me tell y'all brothers out here something. My name is Hustle Smart, aka High Value Tyrone. My channel is the Simp Police Academy, and I'm telling y'all, if those knees are knocking, those thighs are scrubbing. Do not let one of these chicks in these super ultra mega mama boys trick y'all to sit up there and think that being a simp daddy for a female with multiple kids is gonna get you somewhere. That type of upbringing is why the black community is doomed in America. So that's why she stood there at that balcony. I mean, at that immigration thing. And I want to tell y'all this. I want to put this on y'all right here. I got an update for y'all. The Simp Police Academy, aka Hustle Smart, aka High Value Tyrone, my official trick off platinum visa has been updated. You know what I'm saying? The amount is raised up. So when I do my Sierra to Liberian, you know what I'm saying, African tour, it has been upgraded. I sent Dinus the update. I'm sure he can see the old amount and he can see the new amount. What's the new amount, Dinus?
I think it was 25 racks.
25,000. See, that's how you come to an African country prepared. Now you can say Hustle Smart. You just prepared. You're gonna trick off. You're gonna do this. I'm gonna do all the above because I got $25,000 to do it. I'm not coming to Africa hoping. I'm not coming to Africa praying. If I want to, I don't have to deal with anybody else because I have the money. I have the resources to do whatever I need to be done. I'm not going over here jumping off the plane, kissing the nasty ass ground, thinking that I belong. I'm coming over there with a capitalist mindset to the point where I'm going to treat people with respect. I'm going to understand their laws and their provisions. I'm going to understand their policies. And if I know I can only stay here for 3 months, then goddamn it, I need to hop my big ass back on this plane and go back to America before I come back. I'm not going to sit in another country and cry about something that I know that I can't cry about in America. This is the weird thing about us as a people, because we can be dead ass wrong, Dinus. We can be dead ass wrong, but you can get on the internet and find some type of favor with a simp out there or a disgruntled baby mama that sit up there and start talking about what's wrong and what's right, and not talk about what's on black and that's in black and white. See, that's one thing that I learned from being in prison. See, I used to have that same mindset till them doors got slammed on me. It made it real clear and direct. Your path got to be straight and narrow. You get what I'm saying? You can't be on the fence. You get what I'm saying? You either gonna fight your way to the goal, or you're gonna be straggling left and right like a snake. And let me tell you something, Dinus. And this is bring this to full circle. When the grass is cut, the snakes are show. And I'm pretty sure, brother, you don't seen that happen in the last 30 days. That people, these snakes, these vipers, couldn't wait for something to come up so they can go biting at your ankles, trying to bring a giant down. You get what I'm saying? To where they perceive you're a giant. And you just an average man out here trying to give people a way to go see Africa. And all these people got to do is when they go to dumfo.com, they got an option. When they see the price, when
Hey,
they see
Donis,
the
can I get a
city.
minute?
Not Africa. Not
Can I
Africa.
get a
Not
minute to respond, please?
Dumfo.africa. When they see dumfo.africa, they got two choices. They can click yes or they can goddamn get the hell on. But instead of doing that, or even going to Miss Karen program where she's bringing people over there, and they look at her prices, they can either click yes or get the hell on. But instead of doing that, black people will sit up under you and try to complain you to death. They'll try to sit up there and just argue with you to make you bring down your prices when they wouldn't argue with nobody else. And this is the last thing, and I'm finna land this plane right here. The reason why they don't complain to any other group of people, Diners, because any other group of people don't even pay that much attention to black people. So it's one of those catch-22s to where you're going to be damned if you do and damned if you don't because you want to deal with your people. These other organizations don't even care. You can't even go on their platforms or their YouTube or their Instagram and put a post and somebody going to respond. Or they going to make a live show. These people feel like you either come to my establishment or you don't. But you try to interact with the people and you get downgraded for interact with because everybody don't agree with you and everybody wants you to do something different. And I land that hustle smart plane.
Okay, can I come in for 30 seconds, Darnus?
Go ahead, Elvis.
Thank you. You know, as black men, I disagree with the fact that he thinks that only thing black men have to give black women is quote unquote dick and death. I think not. I think we should be giving black women foundation to start a family with. And I don't know you guys on this platform, but I can attest for myself. I've made zero baby mamas. I have one wife and I have a family. So black men who go out there and make two, three, even one baby mother, don't marry them before they have the kids with them. Don't build that foundation to build a family on top of. Come on platforms and talk, and become comedians and project their own insecurities on other people. Look, I'm a man. My wife knows I'm a man. Our friends, our families, they respect the kind of relationship that we have. People admire who we are as a couple. I'm not a simp. I respect women. I know their values, and I advocate for some of the unfair treatment that black women face because it takes two to tangle. It takes a man to go into a woman, have unprotected sex, ejaculating that woman and get her pregnant. And most of them run away when it comes to the responsibility of being a father. We black men, we make these baby mothers and we leave them. And we then later on when we get a little stable, we start to quote unquote co-parent. My son is coming over to visit, my daughter is coming over to spend the weekend, and we think we're fathers and we come here and we bash black women. It's because you didn't build the foundation to make that woman a wife and build that foundation to build a family on top of. So you hate quote unquote baby mothers and you devalue them, but you don't talk about the black men who have sex with these women, don't marry them, have kids by them, put their values down, and then walk out of their lives with nothing to hold on to. So when guys come on the platform and is kept making it, casting expressions and saying ridiculous things, I just now at this point in my life, I'm not even going to argue with them because I think they're projecting their own insecurities. Black men needs to step up. Don't go out there having baby mothers. Have a relationship that's going to lead into marriage before you have kids. I don't know about you, but I know a few guys who are baby daddies, multiple baby daddies, and most of them left the relationship before the woman or the female wanted to leave the relationship. So you made these women baby mothers, and now you're attacking them. I think you need to have some inner self-reflection and see where you went wrong and where black men as a whole has gone wrong by making multiple, at times, multiple baby mothers and devaluing them for other men and expecting them to live a happy life when you, quote unquote, busted in them, give them a child that they wasn't ready for, you couldn't take care of. You couldn't take care of, and you left you left and ran at the first sight of trouble or responsibilities, and now you're cussing them out, you're belittling them, and you think that makes you a man. I beg to differ. I'll leave it at that.
Hold on, let me respond to that real quick, Dinus. Hold on, let me respond to that real quick because hold on for a second, y'all. Let me because he said a lot of stuff that he has no idea what he's talking about. Hold on for a second. He just said that I had some kids that I couldn't take care of and I left. Bro, you know Nabet was married, bro. You have no idea I've been married twice. You have no idea what you're talking about. So that just shows the feminine mindset in your brain. Some type of way you heard what I said, and you don't make this false dream in your brain of what something that you don't even know. I'm on the platform right now. You can ask me. I've been married. I've been married twice, bro. So let me tell you the difference between me and other black men. I actually married black women. You get what I'm saying? I ain't just making baby mama. Now, if the marriage don't work out, it just don't work out, baby. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame Hustle Smart for that. You get what I'm saying? But what I don't do, I don't lead women on. You get what I'm saying? The thing about it is, believe me, my baby, my kid, my ex-wives, I'll call them that if that makes you happy, young man. I'll call them that. My ex-wife, they pray that I don't have an accident at work because they love that 200. Both of them get $226 a week in child support every month, every week, bro. That's how much I pay. Let me tell you something. I come from the gutter, the prison, and now I make over $250,000 a year, bro. You get what I'm saying? My ex-wife living high off the hog off Hustle Smart. And I pay it gladly because even though $426, $452 plus over $826 in taxes get taken out my check every week. That's over $1,226. I'll send Dinus a copy of that. They take out more in taxes. They take more out of taxes on me than most black people even gross. Boy, don't play with Hustle Smart, bro. You get what I'm saying? You have no idea what you're talking about. The fact of the matter, you got plenty of black women right now. If they heard what you said, they'll tell you to shut up. They don't want no man. It's plenty of black women out here will tell you all they want is the kid. You got black women on social media right now that sit up there talking about all they want is a baby. They go into the sperm banks. They're getting pregnant. You got gay women doing this. They don't care in the United States because the black women is leading it. And they got silk brothers like you that ain't taking no lead. You sit up there holding their legs up while they wobbling. A community cannot go nowhere if the woman is in charge. And right now, one thing I'll agree with you is that black women is charged. By that logic, that means that the black community is dead. Because a woman would not take any society nowhere. Now that's why I agree one thing with the Muslims, that how they separate the women. When it comes to religion and praising and to battle plans, they leave the women up out of that. Black men are the only stupid ass niggas that want to have women sitting up here floating around in leggings up in the church, up at the job. Because you can't focus on your business because you sit up here watching a fat ass. So when these women grow up on seeing men will give their last dollar for a female with a fat ass, they take that same mentality to Africa. And that's why they get done the way they get done. That's all I'm saying. If you wanna be a super ultra mega thought in training, a husky hyena in America, do that. But don't expect for Africa to welcome that. And then don't you sit up and start talking about what's right and what's not right. when you don't make no decision what's going on in Africa. Now, if you want to accept a chick with 12 kids and you want to press her up and put her on a KK on the back of a boater with 12 kids, that's what you do. But you know for a fact the main people, the main society is not going to accept that. So it doesn't matter
Wait,
who's right and
do
wrong.
you
And
have
I'll
kids
land
with your
that
two
plane right there, my
ex-wives?
brother.
Hold on.
Do
Can
you
I
have
say
kids with your
something?
two
Hold on,
ex-wives?
Elvis. Let me pass it. Go ahead. I'm gonna pass it to Cedric. Go ahead.
That
Yeah,
is
I
I'm
had to
going, man.
address.
Okay,
May I
Keita.
speak?
Go
I'm
ahead,
out,
Keita.
man.
For sure. Go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, I had to address first of all, Hustle Smart. That's you're pretty funny. I like to see you describe the African woman. I mean, of the continent, but you're just so funny. I want to say something to the
Hey,
gentleman, sir. Listen.
you keep fighting the phone. Like you got to stop wrestling. You like
Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm right here.
okay.
So basically, I want to address the gentleman who spoke, sir. Listen, I understand you're trying to be an honorable man and marry a woman, but I'm going to tell you something as an African woman. We are socialized from the beginning to realize that a woman maintains the honor of the family. Okay, so as much as we agree that a man protects and a man is supposed to be a provider and all that, African women are not weaklings. They have responsibility. They are socialized to maintain. I'm not saying that a woman should be left at the altar or be left alone after she's made a baby. But in Africa, our sisterhood helps us. They tell us you don't make that baby with a man who will not stand with you. So if a woman exercises poor judgment and lands with a man who is likely not going to be a father to her within our systems, this I mean, I'm talking about our real systems. The sisterhood comes and that baby will not survive. I'm not talking about anything, abortion, whatever. We take care of that situation because we know if she's from an honorable home, she's going to make the right choices and a man will not leave her stranded. Because before she opens up her legs to that man has already been screened, that man has already been evaluated, that man already knows that he cannot leave a woman of that stature hanging. So what you're saying is very foreign to me as an African woman. I've lived in the US. I lived there longer than I've lived here in Africa. I only recently relocated back to my homeland. Even in Africa, we African women teach our children, our daughters, you can't do that. And sometimes it is misunderstood within the African American context. They say the African girls look down on us, and a lot of them misread what the cues are. They think, oh, we feel that Africans were better than them, or we're preventing our daughters from dating them because we think we're better. And a lot of that feeds into a lot of the sort of low talk about Africans in America and all this nonsense. But the reality is that we have the sensibilities to look for people who would stay with a girl. If she makes a mistake, she will stand by him. And like the sister said earlier, it used to be the tradition of African Americans as well. We just maintain that. We look out for alpha men who have been socialized to stay and be a protector. So when we read and see the weak man, we don't want a premium, high value woman or girl to end up with something like that. That's just the way it is. It isn't about the individual. It is about what carries the society forward. And in Africa, we say that the woman maintains the honor of the society and the man provides. And we're
Thank you.
very clear
I
of
would
that.
just say this. In Africa, there's also a lot of baby daddies, men who have kids with multiple women and are not in those kids' life. So don't say that because in Africa it's happening there
Well,
too. A lot of
Elvis.
people within our
Mhm.
communities have kids and they're not in those kids' life or they're not married to their mothers. You know that
But
for a
the
I
fact.
sister,
didn't say anything about that not happening. I'm just telling you what the
yeah.
society pushes for. It's not the individual, it is what the society norm stands for. But people don't always follow the norm. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that it doesn't happen, but what the society pushes, and that becomes your norm. That's all I'm saying.
Go.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead, Karen. I'm gonna pass it to Cedric. Go ahead, Karen.
And I wanted to back the sister up also on this too. She had said something that was very important. She said a woman of a certain stature. So I think that is also the difference, Elvis, is that you will have men. Of course, men will have children with women here that they are not married to, but that woman that they're going to make their wife, she's not going to be the kind of woman who does that. She's going to be a certain stature, somebody that is going to uphold the honor of the family. And at one point, our culture was like that. In the last 30 years, everything has gone to hell. But here, just like the sister said, that is still maintained. I also want to just to follow up on something that High Value Tyrone had said earlier, right? This is the interesting thing about one of the videos. The sister who was crying at the immigration office, she said that she was supposedly told that she could get 2 extensions before she had to leave the country again. She was in that video misleading people. She's crying in the office because she was trying to get over. The rule is that you can be here 90 days, then you have to leave. In rare cases, they will give you an exception and give you those extensions. And what happened was she'd gotten 2 extensions or gotten 1 extension, and she wanted another one, and they told her no. And then she ended up having to leave. So she was misleading people on that video. And just to go back to what Tyrone was saying earlier is that we are so used to not doing things straight up, to going and crying, there being a system that supports us. So when you get someplace where there are rules and there's things that you have to follow, and it's not just your feelings or people feeling sorry for you, it hurts when you're told no. But those people in the immigration office were following their rules, and they were probably laughing at her because she was the one that was going in there trying to get an exception to the rule and did not want to follow what the protocol was. So she's in this video misleading people.
Go ahead, Cedric.
All right, peace to the chat. Yeah, I've been sitting back listening. I listened to O'Shea Duke Jackson's take on the situation, and I agree with him wholeheartedly how we should move as a block. I like how some people are already over there, doing the thing. We need to organize, put groups together where we can move as a group and not as individual. I applaud the sisters and the brothers of moving over there individually, but no immigrant, group moved alone. They have a system or things in place to help them, as a community. And that's what we really need. I understand all of the dysfunction or the cultures that everybody is talking about, but really when it comes down to it, we just need to organize and get over to Africa like we want to get over there and do things properly, move with power, and organize and do it like that. All of the back and forth about baby mamas and all of that, that's not going to settle anything. We need to organize as groups like the Chinese, the Indians, whoever, and do what we need to do and get over there and establish some rules for our group. That's it.
All right, let me pass it to U.S. lawyer. Go ahead, U.S. lawyer.
Hi. First of all, I want to commend these 2 women that are speaking because they have a brilliant insight into what's going on. And the problem we have is that we don't hear voices like that, where women talk about a community responsibility as women. And the problem we have is it's all individualized, and that's why we're having such a problem. And I think from a practical standpoint, if you look at it, the problem is that we're trying to do this equality thing in America, and you're trying to dispense quality in an unequal way. And what I mean by that is women have no child gets born unless the woman makes a unilateral decision. A man can have sex all day long with women all over the country, and unless some woman decides to take that potential pregnancy to term, no child is born. And she has other options too. She can have sex and take a pill the next day and never get pregnant. So the reality is that you have to place the responsibility with the party that has the greatest control over the outcome. There used to be something in the law called the last chance rule. It still exists in a lot of cases, and it says that the person with the power to control the outcome, who has the last chance to control the outcome, is the most responsible. The problem is that we've incentivized this single mother thing in America, and we've de-incentivized responsibility. I mean, you can have a child, you automatically get benefits from the government. You don't have to be part of a family.
Preach.
If the father cannot pay for it, the government will pay for it. You get health care automatically. You get housing. So we've actually made the government the woman's, partner. and there's no community interest in that. And she's right. Marriage and babies should be a community, endeavor. It should be the family should get together and decide, because the families are going to be responsible for. They should be responsible for ultimately taking care of those children. And in Africa, because you don't have this social net, then what you have, the social net is the family. So the families get together and they make sure that and like she said, a prize high quality woman goes to a high quality man. That's the reason you have family involved, so you don't have these affairs of the heart, and you don't have people who are getting married because the dick is good and that kind of thing. So I think we really have to start looking at. Here's what I would say in America. We used to have this whole thing. I mean, 50 years ago, marriage, when we didn't have this government social net, we pretty much had similar values. And I think those values are naturally accruing values that accrue in naturally in societies. But we kind of lost that because we had the great societal programs that came about, and they displaced it. They displaced the family. And I think we all have to start. We have to start promoting these women, like these African women who are speaking there. We have to promote them. We have to promote that point of view, because that what these women said, if they come out into the public with that, they'll be castigated. They'll, and try to humiliate them. And that's what we have to stand behind. We have to stand behind those kind of women, because we in America right now, we don't even control our image. We don't control anything. Whoever the person, the music that we listen to, the entertainers that we see, the Hollywood actors, they're all controlled by some other people. They're all promoted by some other people. So who is the person or the people that's supposedly formulating our custom and our culture? We have no input over it. We don't have any input over the schools. And so, we really have to start trying to formulate some kind of a broader, our own social culture where we promote our own images, and we promote women like this. And we have to protect those kind of women, because those women are really, they're leading the way. And like she said, the women aren't necessarily weak. It's that they understand the role that they're playing in a society. And what we have here is we've moved women to a point where women are the so-called strong women, or the boss bitches who have no connection to the broader society. It's all about me. It's all about money. Something that this woman said that was very important. She was talking about money. The problem is that women are looking for men with a certain figure and a certain physique, but they're not looking for a man of moral character, a man of that you could build. Like you said, one of her girlfriends, they were talking about a man. He may not have had the same financial ability as her, but the man had wealth in other ways. And women used to look for that here, and now they just look for the guy with the big D and a big bank account. And that's why we're having so many problems. But I'm gonna say this last thing. I know a lot of Africans that come here, and I got Africans as clients, and I tell them they have baby mamas, and I tell them, don't come over here and make any more baby mamas. Why? Just because you're in America, don't keep your culture. Don't come here and do what you're doing here. Guy complaining about he's having problems with his wife. Not my wife, but he's got an African wife, but got a baby mama. And I told him, look, you came here, you picked an American girl. She already got a couple babies, and you had a baby by her, and now you're having a bunch of problems. He's got an African wife that's sticking by him. He married an African woman. But too many. I know a few African brothers that have come here and picked up the American ways. They think that's the way to do things, and it's not. But I'll say one last thing too on this whole thing with the guy was talking about. It's the father's thing. We really have to culturally and put that with the mother, because the mother was the one who has the control. But we do know a couple things. We know that if a woman is married to a man upon the child's birth, we know that 98% of the time, maybe even higher than that, the man will stay financially responsible for that child and will remain actively in that child's life even after divorce. And most divorces, like 80%, are initiated by women, often for frivolous reasons. So we know that if you really want to look at it, the way to ensure that you have fathers involved in children's life is for women to be married at birth of a child. And the reason that is because you have a man who's already connected. Men don't have this natural bond with the child. A woman carries a child for 9 months. When the child is born, most women already have a bond with the child because they felt the child growing with them and they have a connection. And they probably have a spiritual connection to the child. A man doesn't necessarily have that connection with the child. A man's, for the most part, his connection with the child comes through a woman. So if a man is bonded to a woman when the child is born, he'll tend to be bonded to the child. That's just the way it works.
Can I say something quick right there, brother? And I agree with you.
Hold on. Let U.S. lawyer
Oh
finish.
my God, boy, can he finish talking?
Oh, then I'm gonna pass the premium black. But go ahead, U.S. lawyer. You got 30
So I mean, if you really want to fix that problem, we have to get out. We have to start placing that responsibility to the women. And it's like this woman said. Like the two African women there, they were saying that they were talking about the fact that it's not about individuals, it's about your responsibility to community. You can't have a woman's responsibility to herself over and above her community, and then you turn around and say when something goes wrong that the community is supposed to pick up, for the woman's lack of bad decision making. That's why the community has to be involved in, because ultimately the community is going to have to be one to pick up if it's a bad decision. So I just leave it at that. But the last thing I'm going to say, reiterate, is that these women on here, the perspective that they provided, that's the perspective that we need to promote. We need to exalt those kind of women, and we need to make sure that they get heard, because those kind of women who say things like that, those women will be castigated and vilified.
Preach.
For those kinds of, for those opinions.
They call them pick-me's, U.S. lawyer. They call women that speak the truth pick-me's. Ain't that a shame?
Yeah, let me pass it to Premium Black. Go ahead, Premium Black.
Hi, Dinus. Thank you for allowing me on your panel today.
You're welcome.
Basically, what I wanted to say was that, first of all, Black American women, we are the most copied women on earth. We are the richest. We are the best. And excuse me, sir, you spoke. Have a little decorum. Thank you. Anyway, my question would be, if we're such a problem, why do you flee to our home? I've never seen a group of people raised in a manner whereby you flee to what you don't like. My ancestors built this home, America. It did not exist until we built it. And now we have 54 failed nations, and they come here with their hands out begging with nothing, and they're able to become something. Kudos to you. I'm glad that you're making my home better. If you are, indeed, because many of you are on assisted programs, and that is the truth. And we come up here and we paint this picture that we know that is just a lie. And so if you're not happy here, you can exit stage 1, okay? And that's basically all I need to say for now. And thanks again, Dinus.
Hold on, Premium Black. When you say most copied, can you dig a little deeper and go into detail?
When most copied, I'm talking about everything. I hear everybody now, they're Black. But when they first came here, I know Black, I African, I know Black, I Dominican, I know Black, I know Black, I know Black, like a record almost. And now because Black Americans, we're Black and we're proud and we say it loud. Now all of a sudden, oh, I'm Black, and they'll try to fight you to be Black now, and so we'll just move to ADOS FBA because we're not the same. We don't have to copy off anyone and anything. They come to our HBCs because they haven't built any from where they come from. Everything we do, they copy. And you can look at this. It's not a lie. It's not a joke. It's just the truth. But some people are not accountable enough within themselves, or they don't have enough integrity to admit that. And that's what it is.
Dinus, I wanted to come
But Dinus, that is the exact definition of something. You asking somebody a question and they run you all the way from South Carolina to South Texas, all the way from South Africa. That is the 100% definition of not asking a question at all. And Elvis, that's the type of woman that you're gonna sit up here and simp for, that say some crazy ass shit like that. That's who you simping for. But continue, my brother.
Can I have 30 seconds?
No, go ahead. Take a minute, Elvis. Take a minute.
All right. I want to address U.S. lawyer. I think U.S. lawyer, you had a point that I agree with. When you made the point that women have, the ultimate say in whether or not to have a baby, that's to a large extent true. And on the flip side, men, we have the ultimate say in whether or not to get married to a woman, right? So my biggest point here is the black family. This is where my concern is. Having kids out of wedlock, it takes two. You
No,
said it also.
it
We
takes
should be
one and some
getting
sperm.
married to our women
No,
before
listen,
procreating.
it doesn't take two. It takes one and some sperm. And a lot of these women now are going to sperm banks. So it doesn't take two. It only takes
One
one person and some sperm.
1 second. So
Is that true?
strong alpha males don't ejaculate into a woman without condoms. They don't think about the repercussions of their
Where do you get
actions.
that from?
No, the point that I'm making is you're making a decision that can have repercussions, and you're not thinking about it. If you want to
Well,
have a
let me ask
woman
you a
who you can
question.
have sex with raw,
If
you should
women
be
can
getting
have sex
married. You
on
should be building that foundation and starting a family.
no,
That's my point. Because
what I'm
if
saying
you
is
neglect
culture.
to start a family and you have a child, whether it's quote unquote by accident, or you wanted the woman to have an abortion and she refused to have the abortion and take the money after pill, and she decided to have the child, and you don't want to marry her. So that's the point here. If you want
Well,
families to be strong, we as black men, we have to set the foundation, get married, and then have kids, not the other way around. That's the point that I was making. And I think
well,
you said something that I agree with, and I wanted to make that point.
here's something I'm gonna say to that. Is that
Mm.
here's what else? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
we
I'm
hear you,
hearing you.
U.S.
Yeah.
lawyer.
Here's what I'll
We
say.
hear you loud and clear.
I'm gonna tell you something. You're right to the point where you say men need to be cautious about where they leave the seed because it's dangerous. If you just look at even just looking at it from the standpoint of disease and other things, of course men should be cautious about it. But if you're talking about where we need to place this blame in society and place the responsibility, it has to be with women. And why? Because they have the ultimate control. If you want to fix a problem, you have to put responsibility in the hands of the ones with the most control. Men can have sex all day long, and no child will be born unless a woman makes a unilateral decision that it happened. Women can have unprotected sex all they want and never have a child unless they choose. So, I mean, if you just look at the dynamics of it, if you really want to solve the problem, you have to get back to where you say, women, since you have the ultimate rights, because all rights should have a parallel responsibility. If you have a right to do something, then you should have the ultimate responsibility for it. And since women have the ultimate right to make that decision, they should be ultimately held responsible for it. And it's just and it just only makes sense. And because what you say is from a moral standpoint, I can agree with you, but from a practical standpoint, it doesn't work. That's the problem. It doesn't work from a practical standpoint. From a practical standpoint, you're going to have to, and like the other women said, women are going to have to be the virtue holders of society. They always have been. And so, and there's a reason for that because, in this case, you're giving them the ultimate decision making on the most important decision that occurs. I mean, a woman can have sex all she wants, never get pregnant. She can take a pill after time after she can, and never have a child unless she makes a choice. So, I mean, if you just want to say from an equal standpoint, then why shouldn't a man have the same rights? But
No,
and if
but
you want to look at it
you
from a
know that does
practical
something to a
standpoint,
woman's body, right?
Let
To
that
have
man
a
finish,
please,
Elvis.
please,
God
please, one
damn,
second.
bro.
We're having a
Let that
conversation
man
here.
talk.
We're having a
Let that man. You
conversation.
asked for a minute
Please.
to say what
I'm
you
not
want
in
to
the mood
say,
to
and
argue.
while he was
Just
talking,
allow me to
you
interject,
interrupt. When you was talking the whole
bro.
time, he didn't interrupt you
Relax,
at all.
relax.
But
We're
the
having
thing
a
about it is,
conversation.
the thing about it, you want to
Why are
be
you so angry?
disrespectful because
I'm
you
not
want
even
to be
being disrespectful.
disrespectful in a nice way. And you think that's
Jeez.
think
Look,
that's because you
I'm
said it in a nice
I'm
way.
stepping
Let the
away from
man
those.
finish.
I'm
How
stepping
about you
away from my.
let him finish
Hold
before you
on, please.
talking? Let
Hold
him
on.
finish before you finish talking.
Hold
As
on.
simple as that.
We're having a
It ain't
conversation.
no
We can
conversation
dialogue.
when you get to say what you want to
Please.
say uninterrupted and he doesn't.
Hold on. I want to ask the brother a question.
Go ahead, Elvis.
That's crazy.
Go ahead, Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right. I'll let you finish, brother. I lost my train of thought. Trying
you're
to
not.
say.
Thank God. Praise
Go ahead.
white Jesus.
All I'm just saying is this: rights for all rights, there need to be a correlative responsibility. If you're going to have the right to do something, you should be responsible for it. If you look at it from a practical matter.
Okay. I remember. If you'll permit me, I remember now. Okay. Here's the point I was trying to make. Right. A woman having the money after pill is almost like an early term abortion, right? A woman having an abortion if she gets pregnant. Hold on now. You gotta let me finish, right?
You said
So
right.
Lord.
it does something to their bodies, right? It does
No,
something to their bodies and their
what it does is it keeps
reproductive system.
what
If they're
what
having
it does. No,
abortions
let me
after
answer that.
abortions
You
and
asked what
taking these pills, that is
no.
messing with the linings of their uterus. So
Well,
you as a man should be wearing
you're not saying
condoms in order to
you're not
prevent
answering.
unwanted pregnancies. Don't you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with the first part of the thing. Because the first part of what you said is that what it does is it simply keeps the egg. It changes the hormonal imbalance, so it keeps the egg from being able to implant. That's all it does. So it's not like it's not really dangerous. That's why you can get it over the counter now. Because if it was dangerous, you'd have to have a prescription. It's not even dangerous. So no, it's not the same thing. It just keeps the egg from implanting in her uterus. So, but the thing of it is this. I agree as a man, you should try to protect yourself only because you don't want to be you just don't want to have a negative impact in the world if you can avoid it. Okay. And so I would say as a man, but from a policy standpoint, that has to lie with the women. And if you look at what the women are talking about in African culture, what they're really saying is that from a policy standpoint, they put the responsibility with the women and in a broader sense with the family to make those kind of decisions, because that's who the policies ultimately affect. They affect the women and the families. But if you want to get a hand of, if you want to just feel good, and you can say, well, the men should use condoms and all that, and there's some, just for purpose of disease and purpose of not having a negative impact in this world, yeah, a man should. But from a policy standpoint, if you want to stop the problem, if you want to prevent the problem, you have to place it with the women because they have the ultimate control. They have the ultimate power and they have the ultimate rights. And that's all I'm saying to that.
All right, let me pass
See the problem. Let me say this one thing, Brian. Diane, this thing gonna take me 30 seconds. See, the problem is you got U.S. lawyer is speaking on the practical. So this means legally. You get what I'm saying? And the only thing that's going on with Elvis that he's speaking on a moral, like a moral compass thing. And it's fine to do that. But what I'm saying is that when you're going with the law is going to be on U.S. lawyer side. You know what I'm saying? The practical is when you say morally, you're just talking about feelings and thoughts. When you're talking about practical, we're talking about legal. So that's the part that doesn't make any sense. Go ahead, Dinas.
Let me pass. Oh, go ahead, Ola. Mute yourself, Ola.
Thank you, Dinas. I would like to address two things. Premier Black, I will come back to you. First, you see, the two sisters who were speaking about the African culture, you cannot look. Depends on where you are in Africa. Place like Kenya or some of these East Africans, they are still very, very heavy with their culture. You cannot just dress like the way you dress in maybe somewhere United States, that you want to come over to Africa, to some countries in Africa, and you just say, "Oh, look at me, Chou Peru, Peru." You can do that, and the way you speak also. The main African people study the way you talk. First of all, if you're in Africa, we talk with respect. We talk with at least with some decency. You cannot just become a shouting. I know that's the way you sound. That might be who you are. But when you come into a place like somewhere like this East Africans, and moreover, you coming over, first of all, they will not know that you are from America or you brought out your blue passport. First of all, East Africans see Black Americans as West Africans. That's what they don't know nothing about. Look, in Africa, from east to west to south, the way we look, that's where we know where we're coming from. So when you come into this country, first of all, they just, what's West Africa doing? If we say I'm an American, say, might be a Ghana that went to America or Nigeria that went to America. So they have to have that in their mind. You cannot just come to, I'm in Tanzania. No, they don't see you like that. They see you as West Africans, especially maybe Nigerian. So it's not all that kumbaya, and so you have to study their culture. You have to live with that type of culture, that degree. To Premium Black, I want to ask you something. What do you mean by fleeing? How many Africans have you helped in the United States? How many Africans have you given a job to? How many Africans have you employed or sent to school in the United States? How many Africans have you rented your house to? So it's easy for you to come in and say, "Oh, they're fleeing." If that's what your master is teaching you, your court leader, I think you should go and listen to him more, because both of you are in the same stool. So you have to ask yourself, who is fleeing? bought a plane now to Nigeria, you see a lot of white Americans inside those planes. White Americans who have businesses in this place. The Nigeria will call, oh, you people are fleeing, come to Nigeria, come and see foreigners that live over there. White people. So when you sit in your corner somewhere in that rugged house in Mississippi, think about what you're talking about. You're not exposed, you don't know nothing. What you people sit and say, oh, they're fleeing, they're not pumping their place. What about not pumping? Are you pumping in America? Are you pumping in the United States where you stay? How much are you making? Do you have your personal house that you can say, I bought this house for about $1 million? What do you have? That you have, oh, they're all fleeing. If they're fleeing, are they fleeing to you? You know, you have to have this way you talk, you talk anyhow without not having no educational background or anything sensible on anything. You are your master that is even high school dropout. Have nothing to offer. Even to the dog that you put in your backyard, you can't even offer nothing to your dogs. So you come and start talking nonsense out of your mouth. Oh, they're fleeing. Who is fleeing? Who is fleeing? Come to Ghana and come and see foreigners there.
Let's not make this about African and African Americans. Let's have a productive conversation, please, man.
You know, so you have to be very, very careful the way you open your mouth and your court master who are teaching. It's easy to make money by batching other people.
Are you ready for me to answer?
I will listen to you, but I prefer to listen to a dog more than you.
Well, you would prefer to listen to yourself then. But anyway, now you asked me several questions, so ask me one question and we'll go one by one.
Just answer one of them. You heard them. Answer one of them.
I'm talking to you. Calm down.
You the one acting slow over there. If you heard him act 7 questions, answer one of them.
Sam, she just wants some clarity.
Boy, I ain't talking to you, boy.
Man, you're
boy, I ain't talking to you, boy. Listen, man, they already don't consider you to be a simp. She stood up there and called that man. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, Dinus. She stood up there and called that man a dog. And your dumb ass didn't say nothing. That's why nobody don't pay attention to you, Elvis. That's why nobody don't pay no attention to you. I can't tell because you always running your mouth like a female. You always let me tell you what you do. Let me tell you what you do that's feminine. You interrupt like a feminine. You interrupt like a feminine man.
I barely interrupted. I asked for permission.
You sit up there and boost up illegitimate baby mamas like a simp. You sit up here and argue a moral argument on a platform where everybody else speaking with logic. You got 6 people on this platform speaking with logic.
You're lost, man.
What, Mike? Let's Ola. Ask Premium Black one question. Let's start there. Go ahead, Ola. Ask one question.
Okay.
One question.
You said Africans are fleeing to you or to wherever where you stayed. I'm asking you, now they're fleeing to you, which among the Africans that they flee, which of them or who among the Africans have you ever given a job to or
Stop right there. Stop right there. Okay.
Yes,
what I said was that Africans are fleeing to the home that my people built. So anywhere that they flee is where my people built. Okay. We don't flee to your home. We don't flee to that. And so if you don't like what I say, that is your problem. Then fix your home so that your women and your men don't have to flee, so that they can be born in a place that has toilets, so that they can be born in a place. You're talking about all this culture, but we never see it. We never see it. We never see it. All we hear is culture, culture, culture. But even if you say the marriages, then I would say that a single parent has done better than a 2-parent home in Africa. That would have to be my only observation. So let's go. Pound for pound, let's go.
Okay. You that'll tell you that you're very uneducated. Let me just tell you something. When Africa coming to United States,
it doesn't matter how uneducated.
Hold on.
What honor society, baby?
Can I ask you something? What is your discipline? What is your discipline in school? What have you done? What is your past? What's your background in school?
My background is I am a business owner, and I have worked with.
It's a pity. I have to talk to a dog like you who have nothing to offer to nobody. You see, I don't group everybody the same. I love Black Americans. Part of my half brothers are Black Americans. My uncle is married to a beautiful Black American woman who worked in the bank as a chief accountant, as an accountant for years. She retired now. So I'm talking to you and your court leader.
Hello, can you hear me? I got a telephone call.
Leader,
Sorry.
you and your court leader are people. Most of all, don't be surprised. You're kind of like high school dropout, so I will not be surprised.
High
So
school
you have
dropout. I have 4 college degrees.
Hold on. If I ask you now to spare flee, you will not be able to do that. So why be wasting my time talking to you that's even a high school dropout? You have nothing to offer to nobody. You might be lonely in your chair for more than 25 years. You have never met a man.
You didn't really have questions.
You've been dreaming of having a boyfriend for a very long time, but nobody ever come close to you. TV is your husband. So that TV and that YouTube you checking, that's Tariq Rashid over there as your boss. You understand me? So marry that TV.
Okay. Let me pass it.
Can I say something?
No.
Okay, so he didn't really have any questions.
Let me pass it to Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy. Go ahead, Chrissy. Unmute yourself, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Chrissy, unmute yourself, Chrissy.
Yes. Hi. I think the gentleman who just asked all the questions that the lady couldn't answer, I think he made the point. So there's really nothing left.
Got a phone call.
Can I say something?
There really is nothing left for me to say.
How you doing, Miss Christy?
How you doing? There's just a lot of
Thank you for bringing some civil to the conversation, please.
Yeah, it's just a lot of ego, fluff, and hot air. So he made the point, and she couldn't answer the question.
No, I couldn't answer the questions because I got a phone call. I just said that, and then my mic went.
Okay, let me pass
Would love to hear the answers.
On these panels.
I just want to say something, Sister Premier Black.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to address her a little bit directly because I kind of know where she's coming from, and she was responding to most of the comments which were made by me and the other lady, where we talked a lot about culture. And I don't know where you made that quantum leap from describing the culture in general on the continent to what is happening in America, and the fact that Africans come to America on a certain scale. But I want to first of all kind of break down what you're saying, because one, it is a myth that many Black Americans tell themselves about Africans fleeing to America for anything. If there's no war in our countries where people are legitimate refugees and they go to many places, but not in America, and many of the American Africans who come here largely from the 80s to now, many of them came for higher education. Nigerians, West Africans came, and their bills were paid by their governments. They came right after independence. Many African countries who were attempting to attain higher education paid the way of their citizens to come to America.
Is in like the 8,000s on the level of,
so that's very low. That's why I'm telling you, it's a myth you guys say to make yourself feel good. Nobody's fleeing. They're coming here, and everybody comes here too. So that's a poor choice of words. It's a word to try to not have a conversation, but to try to dehumanize. Yes, you don't have to use those words because nobody's fleeing to your country.
I want to use in my home. And if you
then I'm telling you that it is erroneous. And if you are claiming to be very educated and can make objective statements, then you use right words to describe. This is not a conversation of trying to better anybody. We're trying to understand each other. And if you choose not to, I'm just correcting you. Nobody is fleeing to your country. That's all.
Leave. That's all.
That's number one. We're not fleeing. Number two,
that's number one.
Africans as a whole are not trying to copy your culture. And the people who build your country were Africans. They were not African Americans. The people who were sold in slaves were not African Americans. They were Africans. At that point, they were calling themselves Africans. And their ancestry points to the continent. So again, you were wrong.
Surely you're mistaken. You can only speak up for that dusty ridden, musty, dusty place you come from, but you can't speak on it.
My girl, you don't even have a passport to know what is musty and dusty.
You have to go there. You don't.
These people who listen to Tariq Nasheed, they're coming like a cult.
Passport because I don't flee.
You don't know me, lady. You don't know me. My place is not dusty. And
You
I
stayed and
tell
you
you,
were
when I lived in
unsuccessful where you
America,
stayed.
you couldn't even up me.
I've never
Because
pooped in a
you
strip.
couldn't. Seriously. So
I
just
don't
don't say things
sacrifice
you don't know.
babies for money.
You know what? It's amazing. I never hear all of this rah-rah talk to Jews, to Latinos, to
Hispanics in LA.
Arabs,
Yeah.
to Asians. All of this energy, all of this strength. I never hear
What I
these
want in my
FBA
home.
types
If you
have
don't like
all of
it,
this
you can
strength for
leave.
them.
If
It's
you don't
amazing to
like
me.
it, you can leave.
My
Hey,
girl,
Chris,
when you
Chrissy,
get
let me say
power
something. Let
to
me say
make me
something real
leave, then
quick,
I'll
Miss
leave.
Chrissy.
Leave.
Chrissy,
Hit the
Chrissy,
road.
let me say
If
something
you
before
don't like it,
you jumped
leave.
on the platform, Miss Chrissy. I told them, that the only reason why black people talk like this lady right here because only black people listen to them.
Very
No
good point.
other group of people pays any attention to
Very
black
true.
people.
that's
So therefore, a person like this, she can come on this platform because Diners have is open to everybody. You get what I'm saying?
Very
But
good
white
point.
people don't have a platform where they let
who you
black people
are.
come on.
You're ashamed
Chinese
of
people
where
don't
you
have a
come from.
platform where they let black
You
people come on.
represent.
Israelis don't have a
But you
platform
gotta
where they let black people come in. The
Yeah.
only thing these other group of
get
people
a life.
come into our neighborhoods and do is take over. They don't took over every gas station. They take over all the restaurant business. They taking up everything that's surrounding the black neighborhood in America, Chrissy. Another race of people own. Don't get me
Very
wrong. I'm
true.
born and raised right here in Atlanta, Georgia. The black Hollywood, and I'm telling you that every business that surrounds the black neighborhood, a black person does not own it. A black person does not run it. When a black person want to go buy their blunts, they go to a restaurant, they go to a gas station where a Pakistani is at, or somebody from another group of people. But this is the problem. The internet allows black people to fight against Africans because in everyday life, but we love to go to the African restaurants. We love to go to the Jamaican restaurants. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our only problem in the United States is that the Africans and Jamaicans that come over here, that they don't act like black Americans. If Africans act just as dumb as the black Americans, black people would have no problem with it. If the African was doing drive-bys and shooting up each other and killing each other like we do black Americans, like we hunt each other as black people, we as FBA people, all we do is kill, steal, and destroy from each other. We don't do that against no other people. We don't go in the white neighborhoods. We don't go to the white neighborhoods and destroy. You know what, Miss Christie? This is the funny thing. Black people will get dressed up and go to the white neighborhood and act like they got some sense. But when black people come back to their own neighborhood, they dress up in their gang colors and they destroy. So a person like this only come on the internet and talk because Diners have a platform where he allows black people to. The only people pay attention to black people is other black people. That's it. And I pass the mic.
Can I say something?
Real quick.
Well, you know,
This is
go ahead,
Karen.
US.
Can I say
Go,
something?
hold on. Karen, let U.S. lawyer go. I'm passing you,
This
Karen. Go
whole
ahead.
thing about our people built this country, and I think the African sister touched on it. The people that built this country were Africans. Those are African slaves. You can get DNA tests to tell you where they came from. All this other nonsense about we was already here, we weren't.
Those people weren't African when their feet touched that boat, baby.
They were
They
here.
were sold off, okay?
They were
So
African.
if
No, I'm
African could build,
talking. I didn't
Africans could
interrupt
build
you.
so
Have a
great, they
little
would build
civility. I
Africa.
know
Hello.
you're not used to being civil because it's not where you come from. I'm talking. Okay. Those people that came over here were Africans. We know where they came over. We have the manifest. Africans built this country. Okay, that's the reality of it.
My
And so they're
ancestors.
not, and this whole thing about Africans fleeing. No, Africans are doing what people always do. They're coming over here so they can make a little bit because there's more money in this country. Why is there more money in this country? Because this country is in one way or the other robbing every other country in the world. Okay, if you look through the policies we implement, whether and the reason a lot of you have some instability, and I'm speaking still. I know it's hard for you to keep your mouth shut when somebody else is speaking, but try it.
Because I'm
A little
home.
stability, try it. I know you weren't home trained, but try it.
Advantage, baby.
You don't have any home training. You probably don't even know your dad, but try being quiet for a second.
Because I'm home.
Yeah. So, anyways, The bottom line is all this so-called FBA, which is foolish black ass, talk about how this is our country. First of all, that's a silly concept, and I'll tell you why. All power in this world right now is global. People who don't have a global homeland, a connection to a piece of land where people like them are ethnically similar, then they have no power. That's why the Jews are fighting so hard for Israel. That's why the Palestinians are fighting for a homeland. That's why all the Europeans, no matter what, no longer how they've been here, they all still have a homeland. Irish still know where their homeland is. British know where their homeland is. Everybody has a homeland. The only people who have been kind of displaced, the only people who have been displaced and orphaned are so-called African Americans, and why when they were brought here, they were dissuaded. Well, you don't have to be whatever you want to be, but I'll never be a part of your group. I will side with my African brothers, the ones who have some sense, the ones who have some sense and act right. I tell Africans to come here, don't adopt our culture, and just because. Don't adopt, not to say our culture, but don't adopt that in those negative aspects of it. Okay, and just because you sell the most dope doesn't mean you're dope. Doesn't mean you're a good person. It's just saying that your culture is the most copied. All that means like saying we sell the most dope. It doesn't mean anything.
What you say is null and void. It has no weight, no bearing, nothing.
You just saying it's null and void, don't make it null and void. So that's just you running your big mouth. And that's the problem with folks like you. You have a big mouth, but you know what you look at? What I can look at is women like you have destroyed a whole culture of people. You and women like you have, with your reckless wombs, have destroyed a whole country of black people. So don't start telling me. I look at the damage that you've done to black people.
Look at all the AIDS in Africa.
The worst, the most dangerous place for a black child to be is in his black single mother's home. The most dangerous place for a black child to be is in his black single mother's home. That's statistically a fact.
Oh my God!
You offer nothing positive to anybody.
And
you're not the foundational Black America. I've read the Constitution. Your ass ain't in it.
Can say what you want.
Okay. All right. Well, let me pass it to Karen. Let me pass it to Karen.
Get shipped up.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. What I wanted to say, just to kind of address a couple of points that were made here. One is that Africans do come to the United States for opportunities, right? And that there was a foundation that was laid as part of a Pan-African movement, in our own civil rights movement, passing legislation so Africans can come and they can have opportunities, right? So the whole idea of fleeing, I don't like that, but there is a way in which, we have thought about our African brothers and sisters and have created a path. On the other end of that, there's also a reason why Africans come and don't want to associate. You talk about, the sister talked about our culture being copied. It is copied, right? She's right about that. But then we also have to look at the reality of this. The things that we are promoting, that are pushed as part of our culture, that are copied, are they things that are practical? Are they things that are helpful to us? I think as a people, as Africans and African Americans, just as African people globally, we have this way of sometimes being in our emotions and in our feelings at not looking at, is this helpful? Is it fruitful? Is it beneficial? There are things that my father always said this to me growing up. You have to look at and see if something that might feel good to you is not the same thing as something that is good to you. And I think that we have a hard time teasing that out. So
Dad used to say, I'm not African.
So part of what I'm saying about this is that the same systems that have Africans leaving to come to America for opportunities are the same systems that have us oppressed in the United States, that have us there and had us as enslaved people in the first place. It's the same people doing the same things that have been happening for over 400 years. So we're not on opposite sides of this. I think that we get our feelings hurt because, as U.S. lawyers said, people come and they don't want to associate with us. But that makes sense, right? Because the things that are happening in our culture are not things that are positive, that are going to help people move forward. Why would anybody want to participate in those things?
And that's why we're calling for a delineation. That's it.
And
So
you know what?
sister, let me finish. Please let me finish. So my point is, the delineation is the problem, right? If we don't understand that the same things that Africans are up against that make them have to leave their homeland for opportunities are the same things that are driving us out of our communities, or the same things that are the same reasons men are being killed in our communities and people are being discriminated against and our homes are broken in the first place, right? They're the same forces at work. And I think this back and forth squabbling between us about nonsense is the thing that keeps us from moving forward as a people, right? There's just a lack of sort of common sense of thinking about what is the most positive, productive, and wholesome way for us to move forward as a group.
Yeah.
And
You
all
know,
of this, all of this is a waste of our time.
Jews don't
All
try
of
to
this is a waste
delineate
of our
themselves
time.
from other Jews. Indians don't delineate themselves from other Indians.
Exactly.
I mean, we the only Europeans don't have to delineate themselves because
Exactly.
they already know their part. Matter of fact, this whole thing in Ukraine, if you look at what it really is about, it's about pan-Europeanism. Because if you look at what Zelensky said when he first went to Europe, what he told them is, this is show you're European. That's what he said. So this whole world has a racial component. We're the only people who don't understand that. And we don't understand. And the reason all these Ukrainians get all this money, why? Because they implicitly know that this is a European thing. You got one European tribe that they don't consider to be full Europeans or Russians who are not going along with the rest of the Europeans plunder the rest of the world. And that's why they're after them. But the bottom line is, all this is there's no power base. So-called FBI, there's no power base there. And the problem we have is if we have some kind of a breakout or some kind of civil unrest, we have no place to go. We got
nowhere to go.
No, we have where we going? We still stay here and fight? Because I tell you something else, these white people could wipe us out. And if we had to get arms or do something else, we better have some connections with somebody outside of the society.
Exactly.
So the reality is, right, this world is changing, and if we don't develop some kind of a global identity like everybody else, we're going to be the last of the line.
Doesn't worry me
right,
at
and
all.
U.S. lawyer, U.S. lawyer, what you were saying this, and it's a practical thing. This, FBA thing is all about emotions. People got their feelings or their butt hurt because they feel insulted by Africans, and it makes no sense because the fact of the matter is, just like you said, if we don't have connections with the continent and we're the people that we come from, we have nothing because the world is changing and we need to wake up.
We're the only group who don't see that. Everybody else sees that. The other groups all see that. Chinese people don't say, "Oh, I'm not Chinese. I got to delineate myself from China." No, they don't.
Right.
Asian, Japanese people don't say that. Jewish people definitely don't say. Indian people don't say, "I delineate myself from India." We're the only people who come up with that nonsense.
Let me tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story about. I'm gonna tell you a story about Chinese Americans, right? I had a friend that I used to work with. She was Chinese, right, from Taiwan. She told me they don't like each other, right? She says that they call them bananas and they don't like the Chinese that grew up in the United States. But when China was becoming a global empire, they were going to those same Chinese in America that grew up in America, and they were bringing them back to learn about technology and how to run business and how America operated. Those are the Chinese people that then went to China and built China up. Those were Chinese Americans that did that. That's who did that. And China, 30 years ago, China was behind every African country on the continent. They were poorer than every African country. And the reason why China is where it is now is because those Chinese Americans and those the Chinese in China got together to pull China out of its hole. But we are too ignorant to do that. We want to sit there and we want to squabble.
They've developed a global culture too. They're really big in Confucius. They teach all the Chinese people that in school. They've developed a global morale because a lot of the stuff that you might talk about TikTok, but the stuff that's played here on TikTok, Chinese children don't see that. They don't allow.
They don't get to see it at all.
Yeah, they don't allow Chinese kids to spend all day on the internet. In other words, they protect their own culture. And the same with Russians, they protect their own culture. We don't have any protection because in America we don't develop this culture. Our culture is promoted by the third parties. Whatever entertainers we see, somebody else select. And those entertainers,
what do we pass on? What do we pass on? Sexy Red. That's what we pass on, right? That's the kind of thing that we
non-FBA.
Right. And those, not only those people, and they tend to be very harmful to us socially. And so we talking about when you talk about everybody's trying to mimic us, all you're really saying is everybody's trying to mimic these personalities that third parties are pushing out as us because we don't select them. We don't have a vote on them. We can't control that. And it's kind of like the Catway. One thing he did say, is that when he was talking about that people all go down there, they have to give up some part of their soul, essentially. They have to engage in they have to become part of some kind of, perverted, group of people. So, this whole, but I'm going to say the bottom line is, if it comes down to it, when I say our culture, my culture is with anybody who is looking at the things that are necessary as practical to move us forward as a group. And if that happens to be somebody whose ancestors were born here, that's fine. If it happens to be somebody whose ancestors were born in Africa, that's fine, because that's my culture. My culture will never be with somebody who is unproductive, somebody whose values are being promulgated, whose values are really being selected and promulgated by a third party who are detrimental to me. That will never be my culture. I will never be part of that group. I will never be delineated with that group.
Good for you.
Let me say something real quick, man. Let me say something real quick. U.S. lawyer, Miss Karen, the thing about it, you don't have to get out of character when somebody's talking like this, because the reason why Black people in America act like the way she does is because we fighting for the bottom. We are attached to the government titties. You get what I'm saying? We've been raised up like this since the 70s. And if you hear any group of Black people that talks like she's taught was born after the 70s. You get what I'm saying? Because we've been so attached to the government. That's why we don't see no other way. We don't want to build with anybody else, because the government is the one been taking care of us since the 70s. See, every other group of people they look towards another country to bring up some trade, to send money to, exchange money, knowing that the American dollar will go further in Africa. Right now, the American dollar is 900 naira. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is in all these other countries where if we had some type of connection, we can build in these other countries. But Black Americans like the bottom. Let me tell you something. They just destroyed 6 apartment projects in Atlanta. Do you know Black people was out there crying? They was out there crying. That's how dumb Black people are. We talking about 6 projects that didn't produce nothing but death, destruction, and illiteracy. And these Black people out there was crying. You had Black Americans out there going out there picking up bricks from the projects to take with them where they going, sitting in their car crying, praying to white Jesus. That's how ignorant we are in the United States. And the group of us that want to go further, you have these Black people like this will sit up here and try to argue us down, but they can't stop us because we are capitalists. I'm Pan-African, but I'm a capitalist. She's a Black American that knows that most of Black Americans get their support from the U.S. government. So they don't see no connect. Let me tell you, Ms. Aaron and U.S. lawyer, you do not have to put forth any effort to go get government assistance. They got it now. You can do that shit from your house. You can do that shit. You can do that shit from your cell phone. You can get right now. If I didn't have a job, I could put in a code and get $200 worth of food stamps and have a card get mailed to my house. It'll be here by Wednesday. You get what I'm saying? Because that doesn't take no effort. You can get your kids together, put on your Jordans and some leggings, and go sit down there and get TANF. You can go find out. Do you not understand that they giving Black women cell phones? They giving them laptops. You get what I'm saying? So they can sit at home. They get government subsidies on the apartments. You get what I'm saying? They get government subsidies on health care. They get government subsidies on daycare. When my son was going to daycare, I was paying $185 a week, and that was cheap. My cousin right now got 3 kids in daycare. She pays $21. $21. She only paid $7. Why in the hell would she look to Africa when the government daddy is right there? So they don't see Africa as a benefit because these Black people don't want to conduct no business. They want to be professional employees for the rest of their life. They want to sit up there and talk about how many microwaves in the break room and when they gonna go take a bathroom break and how good the benefits is. That's what they're gonna do. They're always gonna be employees because the funny thing is we are an employee group of people. We're not entrepreneurs. White people raise their kids to manage black people. All white parents do is tell their kids, just don't call them a nigga, and that nigga will work for you for 30 years. That nigga will fight other black people for you if you don't call him a nigga. Give him an extra $1. Give him an extra day off on this. Give him an extra day off. That nigga will fight other black people for you. He will snitch on other black people for you. Just give him some crumbs. Give him some crumbs. That's all you have to do. And black people will work that job for 30 years, have a bad knee and a bad back. Get a gold watch and a gold pen at the end, and go home and sitting up here eating ramen noodles and potato chip for the rest of their life, bragging about how cool they white supervisor was. And I passed the mic.
Let me say something real quick. You know, Africa is the future of the world. Everybody knows that, but black people in America, and we should be the ones who benefit more than any other group from it. Okay, because we have a historical and a natural connection. We have a genetic connection to it. Okay, so the bottom line is, and we also, there's a lot of our cultural things that are genetically based. That's why you look all over Africa and you see a lot of similarities in culture. Huh? Well, if you don't have to be whatever, if you don't, go get a genetic test and then come back and show me you're not African. Okay, but the bottom line is, we have a connection to that land, and we should be in the catbird seat and using our connections here to ensure that we are not left out, because this is a global economy, and people without global connections are going to always be the losers in the world. This is why if you look at all the big companies in America now, they're global. They have connections all over the world. We need to start doing that, because that's the future of humanity. That's the future of this world. The world is no longer confined to your own borders, and we should be the people that to be judging. But I'll tell you one last thing. Look at what Hispanics do. When Hispanics come into this country illegally, they have Chicano por la Casa and other organizations that get millions of dollars from the government. And what do these organizations do? They take those Hispanics, they integrate them into the Hispanic community, and they use them as part of their voting bloc. We are not looking at, we're so short-sighted that we're not looking at Africans as the resource they are. A lot of Africans come here, they become doctors and other things. We already have problems within this medical system. We should be having our own programs to incorporate Africans into our system and to have them become part of our voting block and become part of our own strength. But we don't even have our own voting block. We own somebody else's time, and we own somebody else's political calendars, the Democrats or Republicans or whoever you want to be on. We don't have our own voting block. So I'm just saying we have to get smarter at some point and start. We only made progress during the 70s because Pan-Africanism. Where does Malcolm X went? He went to Africa. Where did Martin Luther King go? He was there when Ghana independence there. He was there for Nigerian independence. Why? And some of his ideals came from. Why did the United States government really give us our civil rights without bloodshed? Africans were going through bloodshed, like Maui and Kenya and other places. The United States, what they didn't want, this is what they feared. The worst thing they feared was us connecting up with those African revolutionaries who were fighting wars and actually killing a bunch of people, and to try to get our independence here. So that was part of the push. That reason we got our civil rights is because of the things that were going on in Africa. And that's when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X became the ultimate threat, because they were connecting with Africa. Something Malcolm X said, he said, you will not be free in America till people in Africa are free. And so, and he also said, the people talk about, I'm not African. He said, who stole your mind? That's what Malcolm X said. So the bottom line is,
said that we're not African.
Who said that?
Douglas also said it. Frederick Douglass, he vehemently rejected being African.
You want to pick out the Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass was a geneticist, apparently.
Frederick Douglass is not the sine qua non of everything that black people have in America. I mean, you got a lot of black people can say whatever they want to say. Frederick Douglass, I tell you what, he can say whatever he wants to say, but his genetic, we go do a DNA test, he had a lot of African. So he also had a white man. I think his father was white. So let's not talk about you want to pick if you don't have to be African.
Well, let me read these super chats real quick. AJ, hold on, Premium Black. Hold on. Let me guys, I'm letting her. So let me read this super chat first. AJ Nija, there are roughly 4 million black immigrants in America. There are more white Hispanics and European immigrants combined than black immigrants here. I agree with that. Because when people keep saying Chinese, they all trying to get over here, all of them. I'm like, well, how many? Can you be specific on the amount that are actually immigrating to Africa? And there's always no response. And then this brother right here, Roger J. Kelson, $4.99. Thank you, brother, from the pounds. That's the UK. Dynas is not right that you're letting her interrupt everyone like this. But the thing is, like all these FBA ADOS people, they're obnoxious like this. I don't know what it is. They're just hella obnoxious, just like Premium Black. They all are. That's just how they are. So, you know, it's whatever.
I wanted to make a point, Dynas, on because I keep hearing, I think everyone keeps hearing with the FBA narrative, Black people built America, you're coming to what I built, etc., etc. It is true that Black people built the foundation and gave American economic boost, an economic catalyst, if you will. But that is not what has created the America of today. That has not done it. It gave America a boost. After it gave America a boost, America gradually started to open its doors to other groups of people who came and brought their own skills, brought innovation. There was the industrial revolution that took place. Now there's a technological revolution that is taking place. We're seeing artificial intelligence. In addition to that, America has worked very hard, the American government and the American military, to plunder the world, to maintain what is really an unrealistic standard of living. And if you took away the plunder and the social benefits and the credit cards, a lot of people like this lady who has a lot of mouth would be living under the train tracks, because without credit, most people would not be able to exist. Where I come from, there's no credit. Either you have the money to purchase a home, build it ground up, or you don't. Either you have the money to purchase a car, or you don't. There's no credit. There are no social benefits that allow you to run your mouth. You either have it or you don't have it. And that is the difference. And I think that is another part that needs to be taken into consideration with these arguments that sound good, make people feel really good about themselves, but they're not looking at the full picture. And in addition, when you are solid and your persona and your identity is solid, you don't have to build your identity on top of trying to tear other people down. I don't see Africans building their identity on top of tearing other people down, or Caribbeans. We don't need to do that, because honestly, we didn't come here to tear anyone down. We came here to work. We came here to work. We came here to support our families, to build families, and to build industry. And that's what we do when we come here, for the most part. We don't waste our time with all of this talk that feels good, but means nothing.
You're on the platforms 24/7, so yeah, you do. Stop lying.
Well, I want to say something to you, sister. Again, I'm coming back to your split personality and your lack of. You claim to be so intelligent, but you're just not. Because one, you keep saying you're not African, and in one breath you say, "Well, my ancestors built here." Girl, what is it? Are your ancestors from Africa, and does that mean that you are an African or you're not? In Africa, we're not chasing you people down. We're not asking you to take us in.
My
you don't. Your answers are dumb.
My ancestors are from Africa, but because of what happened here, we are not African. And our genomes prove it. Our geneticists, scientists proves it. We are not African.
You're fine, girlfriend. We don't need you to be African. It's quite all right.
Make it up as you go, because DNA does not support what you're saying.
American. Go
okay,
Americans, who cares?
America's a place.
America is your nationality. America is your nationality.
No, that's her DNA, folks.
It's not your DNA. You're not similar to a white American. You're not similar to a Hispanic American. Some of you have some native blood, but it is very minuscule. And you guys are really, your status is much people who are insane, people who have crisis. That's why I say you have a split personality. That also is scientific, by the way.
There is no ancient American DNA. America is not a culture. It's not a race.
And I
America's just a
take a
place.
genetic test.
You're not making any sense, lady. You're not.
And
U.S. lawyer, that lady, y'all heard her tell y'all that her DNA is American now. Y'all heard her say that now.
Native American,
Y'all cannot argue. Y'all cannot argue with FBA. Y'all cannot argue with FBA logic. Her DNA is American. Y'all heard her say that now.
I did not say
I'm trying to respect you. I'm trying to respect what you're saying, but you're making no sense. You are not.
I'm making sense if you listen, ma'am.
Listen, I've done nothing but listen to you. Walk. You can notice I've been very quiet. You're not making any sense.
Get rude then, okay? Let's do it.
Well, let her speak. The worst thing you can do for her is let her speak. So let her speak.
My ancestors are African. Some of them, maybe. Not all, not maybe. But anyway, when we take genetic tests and we look at our records, I don't have African. I'm speaking for some people that may have some African in them. I'm not
Well,
African.
what does yours
I'm
have?
not African. All my records lead to right here.
No. All your records can't lead to right here. And unless you're Native, are you Native American?
Yes,
are you Native American?
Yes, they can, and yes,
are
they
you Native
do.
American?
I don't know if you don't understand.
Are you
what
Native American?
As far as the
Are
whole
you
breeding
Native
process
American?
that we were bred because we
If
are
you are
just
not
the
Native
best
American, your records can't lead to here.
because
See,
they
you're
took
either a
us
liar
from
or you're
the rest.
psychotic.
So
You're
you can
either a liar or
Sister,
psychotic. Your
have you
records
taken a
cannot lead
DNA
to here
test?
unless you're Native American.
She hasn't taken a DNA test. She's talking. She's talking about. She's talking about whatever genealogical records, but she hasn't taken a DNA test. This is even why are we even entertaining this conversation?
You know how stupid you sound.
She's not making any sense.
She hasn't even taken a DNA test, and she's calling someone stupid. She's calling someone stupid, and she hasn't taken a DNA test.
Tell me that a
Tell us your DNA.
Well, why are we even listening to this? The sister's feelings are hurt, and she's very confused.
Brandon, then we'll close out. Hold on, one mic. Let's pass it to
She's
Brandon.
confused, and her feelings are hurt, and it's just.
Let's pass it to Brandon. Then we'll close out. No,
She's just
go ahead, Brandon.
confused.
Hold on. Unmute yourself, Brandon. Go ahead,
Hey, can you guys hear me?
loud and clear. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so basically this lady, Rakoya, she doesn't understand the difference between nationality and ethnicity. Recently on my channel, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, a shameless plug. No, I'm fucking shameless plug. But listen, but recently I talked to some South Americans, been calling in, talking about America and all this. And one of the things they highlight is the fact that America is just the name of a place. It's not a DNA or a lineage or anything like that. It's just a place that they made borders and gave it a name. So what this woman is telling you is that she rather attach her identity to a name that's assigned to Black people like a dog, right? My dog's name is Cross. I assigned that name to.
That wasn't Rakoya, please. It wasn't me. It's the premium lady. I know.
It was premium Black. It was premium Black. Premium. I'm sorry. I got you, Rakoya. I got you, sister. I got you, sister. I talked to you before. I talked to you.
That a person that can think one level higher than a monkey.
Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish,
Brandon?
FBA, bro. Wait, let me finish. So, like, my dog's name is Cross. That is the name I've assigned to my dog. But even though my dog's name is Cross, my dog is still a canine, right? Whatever canis, it's genetic designation. She is an African person by her genetic designation, but she prefers to identify herself with the name or label that she didn't even get assigned. Actually, she just adopted from the white people who carved out a section of North America and decide to call it the United States of America. And once people get to that point in their mind, that's okay. But the only issue I have with them is they claim they got all this beef with the white man, and the white man did this, and he owes us money and all this stuff, but they want to identify with him. Do they not realize that when you identify with him, you adopt his label, you forfeit your right to come to him and demand anything? Because you said we's you. We's white.
Hey, Brandon. So where does Africa, that word Africa comes from, and what is the meaning behind that? Let's talk
The
about.
term Africa comes from a tribe called the Afri tribe in North Africa. When Romans came to Africa for the first time, that was one of the first tribes that they came in contact with. So they called the land Africa, which means a free land or land of the Afri. So they basically just did what we do when we call all Hispanics Mexicans. We came into contact with Mexicans, so we call all Mexicans Mexican, all Hispanics Mexicans. That's just ignorance in someone's making their first contact with a group of people. So the term Africa comes from a African tribe, an African source. It comes from that. So now that you
who's Carl Linnaeus?
Who's you?
Carl,
what you say?
Have you ever seen that chart where they have the man and they have the monkey? They have the white man, they have the black man, they have the monkey.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Carl Linnaeus is the one who made up the word Africa, and what
you mean Africanus?
Yeah, you can call it that too.
No.
So
Africanus. Wait, let me explain it to you so you know.
No, listen.
Africanus.
I don't know nothing about Africanus.
Listen, Africanus was a Roman general. His name was Scipio. He went and fought wars in Africa and won a lot of battles. So they gave him something that's called an agnomen, which is like a nickname that they give you when you've accomplished something in a certain place. So they gave him the agnomen Africanus. Him being called Africanus was him being named after the continent of Africa, not that continent of Africa being named after him.
Okay, well, Africa got its name, Africa. You're talking about this Africanus, okay? But Africa comes from Carl Linnaeus, and Carl Linnaeus was a white guy, and even his society told him what he did was wrong. And
what I'm trying to tell you is you can't say that because Africa been being called Africa way before Carl Linnaeus was ever born. So that's wrong.
That being something that just thinks a level higher than a monkey. Because that's what it's based on, and you know it, and I know it. We all know it.
I think that you're just misrepresenting history, and that's what fits with the narrative that you prefer.
History. I'm not. I am not.
All right. When was Carl Linnaeus? When was the guy Carl Linnaeus born?
You look it up and you tell me.
Why do you the one making the claim?
You should have that information.
Because you're telling me that I'm wrong.
Okay. Well, if you would bring up something, you should be able to then speak to it and provide.
Because unless that man lived, unless that man lived in the Roman Empire, we know that you're wrong.
I know that I'm right, and if
you call yourself something, this is FBA logic. You know, FBA logic is psychotic. Facts don't matter. It's all about some kind of an emotional thing that's going on with them. You know what it's like? It's the orphan syndrome. It's like they're so orphaned that they feel like they have to create a new identity. And it's crazy. It's like the little kid, orphan kid, who always says, you know, I'm really a rich parent, and I was switched at birth, and my rich parents will come get me soon. It's that kind of logic. It's where you try to create this new personality because you don't like your current situation.
A U.S. lawyer and Brandon, let me tell y'all something. I appreciate Dinah's letting her talk the way she told, because you know a lot of people think that I'm crazy, you know, so I'm just passionate about what I talk about. But she proves this is the type of person that when they go abroad or go anywhere, they think that what they say is right. This is how black boys and black girls are raised up by parents like this. Where your parent can tell you that the day is Wednesday and you know that it's Sunday, is then the parent whoop your ass until you tell them like, yeah, it is Wednesday, because that's the way we're raised up in the black community, that we're raised up by dictators. And I'm gonna tell you something, I know a lot of y'all ain't gonna like this. Black American women are the right hand of white supremacy, directly or indirectly. Black women are the gatekeepers for white supremacy. She want to attach herself like a leech to white zaddy so bad, she probably sleep with American flag in her bed. She probably wrap up in a blanket. That's how silly black women are. And on top of that, she can talk like she talk. That's why when U.S. lawyer was speaking nothing but facts, to her, her response was, I can say what I want to say in my house. A lot of y'all didn't catch that. A lot of y'all did not catch that when he was trying to speak truth to power, 100% facts. Her response was, I can say whatever I want to say in my house. And that's how black women are. That's why when a lot of black kids get older, they go away from their black moms. They only come back on holidays. It's black American kids that would rather send their mama money than to come visit them. You have black women try to trick their kids with a home cooked meal to get them to come around because nobody likes to deal with a dictator. Every child likes to be told what to do with logic. They respect logic. Of course, they will get out of hand, but they don't want to be living with a dictator because if you're trying to teach them right is right and wrong is wrong, they expect when you're wrong to accept that. You don't have to bow down to your child, but you got to let your child know, you know what, I made a mistake. I'm wrong. I tell my kids this all the time, and they expect for me to argue with them. But I tell them, I'm wrong. I was 100% wrong, and I'll tell you how I was wrong. I appreciate you bringing that to me. But that doesn't make me not be a good parent. Black women have this thing in America is that if they ain't 100% right, then everybody else is 100% wrong. They have that way. They don't concede to nothing. They don't concede to nothing.
I'm sorry.
And that's the problem. And I yield the mic.
I'm sorry you had such a rough time growing up.
No, my mama and my dad were pastors, baby. You know what I'm saying? I was raised up under white Jesus.
That means absolutely nothing.
Like, just me. Listen. My parents, me and my parents have the same last names, and that is a rare commodity in the black community.
Me too.
Exactly.
Me too.
So if that's the case, then when that brother was telling you a fact that was right, why did you say it don't matter? You can say whatever you want to say in your house. Why did you say that when he was telling you the truth?
I said that because I am an American living in America, and we've sat back way too long, and we've let other people come in, and we would just dismiss what they said or just let it go. But in 2024, we said, oh no. We're going to let people know how we feel, and they're not going to talk to us, and not the home that we built, not the home that we had to endure in. And if they come here as guests, then they should act accordingly, because when they go to Rome, they're going to act as Romans. But when they come here because of the work that we have put in, they think they can come in and talk to us any kind of way. Those days are over.
They're coming to the land that their ancestors helped build. So they're not just coming here to your house.
Your ancestors ain't built nothing here.
Their ancestors helped build, which are my ancestors. So they're not coming to your house. You don't own this. You don't. And
you as lawyer, you should have just let her talk, man. You should have let her. She was doing good. You should have let her talk, man.
You control nothing in America.
Nothing.
She is funny. And you know the sad thing about her is that I know plenty of black women that act just like her, that talks just like her. What U.S. lawyers said to her was a fact. Her answer she just gave y'all had nothing to do with the question that he asked or what he was saying. He spoke a 100% fact, and she said that I say whatever I want to say in my house. It didn't have nothing. It didn't have nothing to do with what you just said after what you just said then. You just made up, you just said something totally different than what you said when he was talking about. He didn't ask you anything about that. He wasn't even refuting anything that you said. You wasn't even, you're so senile that you don't even remember what the question was he asked you. You were just trying to be defiant because you raised up by white zaddy, and white zaddy give you the platform to talk like that and to be belligerent. You get what I'm saying? It's no repercussion. Let me tell you something. I'm on your side on this. I'm on your side on this. It is no repercussion for the black woman being a dictator. It is no repercussion for the black woman being off the chain. It is no repercussion for a black woman putting their kids through turmoil. It's no repercussions at all. So I get why you act like you act. Because black men ain't doing nothing. They ain't offering you nothing. Black men ain't offering no jobs. They offering no type of financial institution. They're not offering no type of housing situation. So I get it. I actually understand.
Housing? Dude, I live on 6 acres, okay?
Of course you do.
Right now. And snow
next to the lake?
Are you crazy? Are you nuts? When my dad passed away, we were left plenty, okay? So you got me mixed up. I've never seen
period. That's on period.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, I got it. I got you. I understand. I understand hood booger husky. I hang in the lingo. You get what I'm saying?
Know where the hood
I have a question from Miss Premium Black. May I ask
well,
you a
let
question?
me read these. Let me read these super chats first. Ray J. Kelson, if they're all like they are, all like this, then why entertain them? This was a productive conversation about helping Black Americans move to Africa safely. Now we're entertaining. All right, we got all right. All right. We got.
Okay, my question is to Miss Premium Black.
I remove. You can't reason with these people. It's like you ever seen the movie Terminator?
I'm trying to be logical.
You cannot be logical.
I'm trying, and maybe she can give me some insights into her thinking, because I really don't want to believe that what she came to say was something that she really thought through. Because my question is this, right? Do you believe that you can still be respectful of whatever your position as an FBA or a Native American or whatever? You can still be authentic in that status and still respect African culture for its relevance to the African on the continent. Can you at least do that?
I removed her.
He removed her.
It's a waste of time. They just
they
all just come on and yell and scream and yell and scream. And,
all right.
Hey, Daddy, let me say something to Sister to the sister real quick. I understand that the way I talk sometimes, and I know you don't heard me talk plenty of times, and I'm kind of cutthroat to the people that we are. See, people like you that will want to try to give this person the benefit of the doubt. This is the type of person that will let you feed them when they're wounded and turn around and bite you on your ass as soon as they healthy. Do you get what I'm saying? You can't. Only thing these type of people like her know is punishment, because this is where we're raised up in America. All we know is on go. All we know is that I wish a nigga would. All I know is that nobody better not say nothing to me today. I'm gonna fight anybody. I'm ready to fight anybody at the drop of a dime. When you have this type of people with this type of mentality, no type of rational conversation is gonna get through an illogical creature. You get what I'm saying? It's nothing. This person is non-rational. So it doesn't matter what you say. You could have gave her the winning lottery tickets for the Mega Million and the Powerball. She was not gonna receive that information, because her whole antics, her whole MO was to be combative. She was gonna be combative against any and everything. You get what I'm saying? And she showed that. And that's just who she is. So it's no type of way, any type of moral compass, any type of cultural differences, any type of way to sway her, to get her to see anything other than ratchet, hood booger, gutter monkey behavior. She was not going to understand it, because she was on a platform of, she's standing back in the fight position. You're coming at her as a sister. Please explain yourself. Let me let you know where you're wrong. And she's like, I don't care. I'm swinging at everybody. Everybody's the enemy.
But
So you cannot help people like that. And I yield the mic.
Hey, Donis, I'm saying, I know when you go to Africa, you get love. I got love all Africa. I got an African woman in the house loving me right now. But what I'll tell you is this, we have to make sure that we're heard also. Those of us who love our African brothers and identify with them, we have to make sure that they understand that this FBA nonsense, hatred, and vitriol is not on the part of all of us, and that they are part of our community too. We can't let those people, we can't just cede the mic to them and because they got big mouths. And the way they look at, they're always talking about, oh, Africans hate us. How come, I don't see those Africans. Where are those Africans that hate us? I've been all over Africa and I've got nothing but love. I mean, I could tell you all kinds of stories. So I don't understand. And, you know, and they're telling that to a group of people who are largely uneducated and don't travel and who will buy into that. So they're telling me it's Africa. Hell, they call us a kata. I've never heard of them. I'm sure somebody said it, but I've never heard the word a kata. So, I mean, I've never heard an African say that. So I don't, as a matter of fact, I've been to African countries where they're shocked when I open my mouth that I'm not African. So, you know, but we have to make sure that the sisters, like the ones that have been on here today, and the brothers, that they understand that we're part of their group. We're not part of that other group. So I'll leave it at that.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Guys, listen, we're going to close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Pay attention, black people.